Hello there, and welcome to the 1 to 11 podcast. This week I was joined by Will Vase and Tom Hazelwood to discuss 3 players we would bring into each of the top 6 sides and Leicester City, and 3 players we would let go from each of those teams in order to improve their chances of making the top 4 next season. This episode ended up being about 2.5 hours long and should be broken up into 7 segments to cover the 7 clubs in alphabetical order. So if you wish to skip ahead to hear a specific club, just check out the chapters listed on the podcast info. I hope you enjoy. Right, so in terms of our 3 ins and 3 outs, let's start with 3 outs from Tom concerning Arsenal.
Yeah, so it didn't take me long to decide on this, but first of all, Hector Bellerin just needs to find the nearest bin and jump in it, to be honest. I feel quite bad for the Arsenal fans because they've got a player who clearly, to me, just doesn't look interested. He's more of a fashion man. He doesn't really, I think he said himself, he doesn't really watch football. So that just already pisses me off about him. But
wasn't he captain a few weeks ago?
Yeah,
he captained a few times this season.
Yeah, and it just didn't look right. But he's just crap. He even does foul throw-ins quite frequently, and he's lost his pace ever since some injuries, and he's just awful. He needs to leave. So
I think he's on 4 foul throws for this season. I think.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Wow.
So he needs to go. And then the other one who they've got on loan at the moment is Guendouzi. Now, I quite rate Guendouzi. He's quite good for his age. Nice box-to-box aggressive midfielder. I think he's quite good, but he's clearly got a big attitude problem. He's already causing problems at Hertha Berlin. The manager just thinks he needs to grow up, really, and he just seems like a bit of a knobhead. And I think I think at Arsenal, what they really need to have is a solid team on and off the pitch, which I think Arteta's doing, where everyone is invested into the project and just goes with the plan. And I don't think Guendouzi offers that. And I think they've already got quite a lot of good midfielders, so they can get good money for him and ship him out. And the last one, I thought Chambers, he's not played this season. They've got plenty of centre-back options anyway, and there's just no need for him to be there anymore. So Chambers is my last pick to go.
I like it. Will, who did you have leaving the club?
I also have Bellerin, because I honestly think he's one of the worst footballers I've seen.
I feel like there's going to be a theme with this.
I don't see what he offers at all. He's so shy. Next one is Kolasinac.
Oh yeah,
because I don't think he actually plays very often now, and he does plays in a back 3. There's one already gone.
Kolasinac.
Yeah, go away, pal. And unfortunately, it's not really much debate, but I also had Chambers down.
Oh yeah.
Very similar from you two then.
I did also have as a little side option Lacazette maybe, which we can discuss.
I think you're mad, mate. I think you're mad on that one.
No,
really?
I think it's a fair shout, but I also agree with Jake in the fact that Lacazette, I think he loves his time at Arsenal. He's working hard, and I think he's improved a lot this season as well. And I think even if he's not the starting striker next season, he can do a job for them.
True.
Yeah, if I come in with my 3 players to leave, then as a side note on Lacazette, when I looked at Arsenal's squad, well later on I'll show you my pick for a left midfielder. But again, if they do bring in a left midfielder, because I think they're quite weak there, they then got Lacazette and Aubameyang up front for next season, which, for depth-wise, I think it's incredible.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I don't think Eddie Nketiah is good enough either. I don't think so.
Yeah, but they can loan him out or something, can't they? There's no point looking.
They got a few players. They got Martinelli as well, who's not really played, but gets like the odd game in Europe and that. And Well, the same with Nketiah. He was at Leeds for about 6 months, and they brought him back, and he played a little bit. And at the beginning of the season, he was in my fantasy Premier League side because he was playing games.
He
didn't play at all. Yeah. But that's obviously not worked out for him. But again, so players to leave. Surprise, surprise. Top of my list is Hector Bellerin. Don't know if you've heard of him.
He's just a massive dosser, isn't he?
I hate you.
I've got him to go out purely. So again, his attacking numbers aren't that bad. Like shot creation wise and expected assist wise, he actually ranks fairly well in the Premier League. But defensively, he's really far down.
He doesn't pass the eye test.
No, he's among the lowest for tackles attempted and won by any fullback in the Premier League. So
really?
And I think interceptions wise, I think he's had one all season. I think that's what it is. So it's not looking great for Bellerin on that front. I think sadly, like you said, he had an injury and lost his pace a little bit, and he's just never kicked on. Like he seems to have been the same player for 5 years.
I think he's even worse than when they signed him.
It was just maybe. It was just his pace on it that almost kept him in the name, but he's almost lost that. I remember against Aston Villa when Grealish just absolutely bodied him.
Yeah, I know.
Just went past him at the end.
I think perception-wise, he's one of those players, again, we've discussed this before, that he gets a lot of FIFA hype, and then people look at him and think, he's supposed to be decent, so he'll be all right. But actually, again, on the eye test, doesn't look phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then I've actually got 2 centre-backs to leave the club. To be fair, he hasn't played that much, and I completely forgot about him. So I do agree with Callum Chambers, but he's not on my list, right? Again, because he's so far out of the picture for me that I forgot he even existed. Right? So I'd ship him out. I also want to ship out Pablo Mari, so the Spanish centre half.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Because he's 27, he's on 85 grand a week. Yeah. He's not young. Again, I thought he was young, but he's 27, which isn't old.
Think he's like a good, reliable backup, though?
Not really.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm not. Right. Again, the example I bring up is, I think we all watched it as well, was they played Leicester last weekend and he backed away for the first goal the entire way. It was terrible.
That wasn't great, was it?
And again, he doesn't really play that much, and for 85 grand a week, I think you can get a better footballer.
They only just got him. Though. That's why.
Was he from City? Or that?
No, I don't think so. I think he came from Brazil.
Oh, really? Where I got that from then?
Don't quote me on that, but I can't remember. But I think he did come from the Brazilian league. So I've got Pablo Mari, and then purely based on age and wages, I've got David Luiz.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. I don't know, but how? Who's going to buy him?
So I'll explain why.
Point.
So again, he's on 125 grand a week. So he's in the top 5 earners at the club. Again, he's 33. They did, but again, that's why he's on such high wages.
Well, exactly.
But again, as I'm looking at it, they've obviously got Gabriel, who they like at the back, and long term, forming a centre back partnership. I don't think David Luiz is going to be there very long moving forward. Again, then one of my players coming in picks, but obviously they've got William Saliba on loan out at St Etienne, and that's who I'd replace him with, personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you not think he'd be a good person to keep around just for the dressing room?
Maybe in that aspect, but then again, I looked at this for some players later on, and if you want players in there for experience, get him in as a coach. Do you know what I mean? If you're paying wages, you want a player that could be relied on, and he is for Arsenal. But I'm just looking at age profile, where I'm looking for a team long term. Personally, they'll keep him on, obviously, but
there's one player I want to mention that I think Arsenal fans would be annoyed if we didn't mention, would be Willian.
Yeah, but
he's only been there a year, hasn't he? Yeah.
You can't really sell him, but his contract is so high and he's so shit.
And he's got 2 years left on that after this year as well.
No, he can't. Well, I'll move on to
no one
the
wants
ins,
him, do they?
I'll explain why I'm not too fussed about the centre backs and why David Luiz should stay. But my first in is obviously getting rid of Bellerin, so they need a right back. And for me, the best is Tariq Lamptey. He wouldn't be much money at all. Very young, English. He's making the step up, so he'd be desperate to do well. It's not like Willian going from Chelsea. I think it'd be the perfect signing. He'd be aggressive, gets forward. I think that's what Arteta wants, and
I think you'd be surprised on the fee that Brighton would demand for him, even though he's played 10 games.
no, but it wouldn't be more than 30 million. I'm sure of it.
Still a whack though, isn't it, for a player I think has only played 15 Premier League games.
Yeah, but he's better than Bellerin, and
that's true.
There's not many great right backs out there that are going to come in and be great, and I think Lamptey's the next young up and coming English right back that they should take a gamble on. If I'm going to play devil's advocate on that again, I'd say that again we've only seen him as a wing back around a back 3, and Arsenal tend to play a back 4. Is all I would say as well. Has he not? I thought the start of the season he was in back 4.
Yeah, I thought.
No, Brighton have played 3 at the back all season, haven't they?
Really?
Yeah. They started the season with the first game against Chelsea. They started with 3 at the back, and Lamptey played as a high pressing, sort of almost right midfielder.
That game you were. I remember watching that game. He was brilliant in that. I don't know.
I like him a lot. I'd have him, certainly.
The thing about that as well, though, even if he's not good enough yet, I'm sure he will, and he'd be a good bagger.
Yeah,
I rate Cedric. Like, they've still got Cedric, who I rate. He starts a lot at the moment, and he's doing really well. So it wouldn't even matter if he's not ready to start yet. I just think...
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
I'm just arguing your point.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. But I bet both of you have one of your ins being a centre-back. I'm quite content with their centre-backs compared to the rest of their team, which needs sorting out. That's why I mean, Luiz, Saliba's coming in, Mari's good backup as well. That's why I wouldn't get rid of any of those players you mentioned.
I mean, to be fair, when you look at Arsenal's numbers defensively, they're actually fairly solid this year.
Yeah, they are.
Really. And again, if you look at weak points, the only weak point is Hector Bellerin, really. So you could probably keep the rest of the back four the same and just bring in a new right back. Yeah.
Exactly. So I've ignored centre-back. So the other two people I'd bring in are midfielders to really strengthen that midfield area, because Partey gets injured a lot. So a similar player to him who wouldn't be much money, who I rate a lot, is Bissouma from Brighton. I think he'd be fantastic as a rotating box-to-box player, along with Xhaka and Partey. They've got Torreira coming back. Obviously, I want to get rid of Guendouzi. So that's all their like box-to-box holding players, and I think it'd really strengthen their midfield area. And I think that spine that they'd create with him coming in, as well as the next midfielder I'm about to mention, would make them a really strong, solid team. And then the next player, I didn't talk about a left winger or anything, even though I think they might need it. I like Pepe on the left at the moment. They've also got Martinelli and Willian, who could be better next season. So I went with Aouar for Leon, a more creative midfielder, because I don't really believe in the number 10 position that much anymore, unless they're aggressive number 10s that come back to defend. So Odegaard's going back on loan. Ceballos is going back. So I think they need to bring in a centre mid that can play that centre mid position alongside Partey and Xhaka or Bissouma, but also be the creative player. They need that Aubameyang and Saka will need to move the ball from defence to attack. So I've gone with Aouar. I don't think he'd be too much money either.
Oh, mate, I think he'd be an absolute bomb. I think Leon would want at least 50, 60 million pounds for him.
No, absolutely no chance. No.
Really?
He's been linked a lot, hasn't he, recently, last few years?
The French League is struggling financially. A lot of the teams in the French League have been hit hard by COVID.
Yeah, I know. Well, also by the Media Pro situation as well, if you know about that. So the TV rights that went askew.
Oh, no, I didn't hear about that.
I'll explain too. So basically, there's a company called Media Pro. They signed a deal, I think it's for about $1.5 billion for the French League. And essentially, they didn't get enough TV subscribers, so they pulled the deal, which left all the clubs... Yeah, I know, but without a lot of money. So Canal Plus have stepped in to fill that, but they're only getting half of the money they were promised. So actually, French clubs financially are probably worse off. So you could potentially poach a good deal this summer. Yeah,
I didn't know that, but I did know that the French clubs are struggling financially and that they wouldn't be able to demand loads for their best assets. Leon might just have to be forced to get rid of him just to fund some of the things.
That's a fair
30,
point.
40 million. So yeah.
Yeah, I like Aouar. He's a good player, a really good player.
Yeah, so they're my three. Lamptey, Bissouma, Aouar.
That's a raid in Brighton for two of their best players.
I didn't even think about that. It's two players from Brighton.
Big double deal for Brighton.
That didn't click for me, but it could still be done.
I mean, if they're getting 70, 80 million pounds for the pair of them, I think they'll probably be quite happy with that.
Yeah.
Should be on to mine.
Will, who did you want to... go for your three, mate.
Annoyingly, I've also got Lamptey and Aouar.
Really?
No way.
I had Lamptey down, and then on Twitter yesterday there was loads of stuff about Lamptey joining Arsenal. There was loads of rumours.
Really?
Teams quite a lot. Yeah, there was quite a lot. I've got two other ones. A centre half, and I've got another winger that I could go for. I've got Buendia from Norwich.
Yeah.
They've been linked to him quite a lot, and I think he's had quite a good season. He's in the Premier League last year as well.
If I could chime in on Buendia, I'd say he's predominantly been used as a right midfielder, and I think with Pepe, Saka and Willian there, unless they're going to shift him onto the left, I think probably they're stocked up enough there.
And then the other one was Ben White Another Brighton player. Centre half, coming. He's young. Played a lot of games this year. Could do a job. I feel like.
He was rated at Leeds last year. And I think this year he's been a little bit iffy at Brighton.
Yeah, but again, he could always come in and do a backup job.
Well, he would be.
Again, similar to Tom's, I wore Lamptey were the main two, though.
Yeah.
Especially Lamptey.
I mean, if Brighton are willing to sell anyone this summer, they might make an absolute bomb. I think a lot of their players are quite high in stock at the minute.
Yeah. I like Basuma as well. That's a good idea from Tom.
As well. He's just combative, ball-winning midfielder. I think he's really good.
He's got overall solid. I don't want to talk about Brighton, but they're just. It's a shame, isn't it, with them?
Yeah.
They just should be so much better than they were, mate. I know.
Yeah, they've got no one that can finish.
Be Malpe.
Man.
But yeah.
So who are your three, Jake?
Right, so I got basically I addressed the right back position. I've addressed the centre back position with William Saliba. So that would be my in, was just be to bring him back. Again, looking at Wesley Fofana at Leicester, you see what us and Etienne players doing in the Premier League now.
Yeah.
I think Saliba would be fine. But in terms of the right back, go on, mate. Sorry, go on.
I was saying Saliba's at Nice now, isn't he? On loan, he's doing really well, apparently.
Yeah, he's gone out on loan there now. Yeah. I know apparently he's had a falling out with Arteta or whatever. That's why he went out. But it just seems a waste not to play him.
Yeah.
So my right back, again, both of you may have heard of him. He's a Turkish right back from Lille. His name is Zeki Çelik. I don't know if you've ever come across him, Philip. So Lille are top of the league in France. And if you look at him again, regardless if they make Champions League, though, when Arsenal don't, the wages and money over here is going to be much higher. I imagine they can pull anybody out of that Lille team near enough. And again, they've already bought players from Lille. They've bought Gabriel, Pepe, and Jovino from Lille. So again, it's obviously a club that they've bought players from. But if you look at him stats-wise, his attacking output is basically the same as Bellerin's, so you don't lose that at all, given that Bellerin actually is decent going forward. But defensively, I think he makes twice as many tackles as Hector Bellerin and 3 times as many as Kieran Tierney. So in terms of a defensive output, you're getting loads. Yeah, he it would put him as a top 5 fullback in the league with those stats.
5.
Yeah. So he's comparable to Aaron Wan-Bissaka tackling wise, and he's comparable to pretty much Reece James going forward. So he seems like a good balance.
Pretty complete.
But he's Turkish and plays in a farmers' league.
He's only 24 as well, mate. He's only 24 as well.
Oh, well,
Lille
no, don't give me
Lille just went out to Ajax, didn't they, in the Europa League as well?
Yeah. Has there been any good Turkish players in the Premier League?
It's all right.
It probably has, and Mesut Ozil.
Tarat was Moroccan.
Yeah, I don't know where I got that from.
I mean, Tosin to Everton was awful. Choram, didn't he come to the Premier League? Or did he not? No.
Honestly, my repertoire of Turkish players in the Premier League has gone out of my head. I can only think of Colin Kazim Richards, and that's about it.
But I don't know why I said Tarat.
Interesting shout though.
Yeah, and again, if I'm going for more stats, on top of that, he presses twice as much as Hector Bellerin, so the work rate's there as well.
Yeah. I think I'd press more than Bellerin, though.
But again, like stats-wise in Europe, he's up there as one of the top fullbacks this year, and he's only 24. Yeah. And again, with the French situation, you could probably get him at a good price.
Oh, definitely.
Shrewd signing, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he'd be pretty good. I've always said about Saliba, and then I think Arsenal lack a left midfielder at the minute. They keep sticking Aubameyang out there. I don't think that's his favourite position at all. I think he wants to be up front.
Better for the middle, isn't he? He's better for the middle.
Yeah, I think so as well. I said to you two before, if Arsenal had an unlimited budget, I'd sign Jack Grealish, but they can't. So that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So again, I've looked to France again. I seem to just be finding loads of great young French players at the minute. There's
Bamba.
2. No, mate, I'm not going for Bamba. He'd be too expensive. I'm going for... I've got 2 picks. So I've got a 22-year-old. His name is Romain... I'm going to say it's Favre is his surname. He plays for Brest at the minute. He's one of the highest shot-creating wingers in Europe at the minute. He scored goals, set up goals this season. He's 22. The difference is he's a left-footed player, so you don't get like Saka on the right cutting in. You get more of a winger. But in terms of pressing numbers as well, I think he's in the top 10% for pressing wingers in Europe. So you get a defensive output from him anyway as well. His passing stats, his crossing stats, and his progressive passing stats are incredible. He just seems like an all-round, like he's almost like a box-to-box winger. He's really, really good.
Pick. He wouldn't be too much.
And then if you were going to keep Aubameyang on the left and you wanted a younger player, I've mentioned to you before, there's a lad called Adil Al-Shishe. He plays for St Etienne.
Yeah, I know.
He came out of PSG's academy. He's only 18, but again, shot creation-wise, even shooting percentage-wise and passing-wise, he's incredible for 18 years old. But being 18, I imagine that he'd get a jacked-up fee for that, given how young he is.
Yeah.
But if he carries on at the pace that he is, I think either of those two would be incredible for Arsenal. And you know how much they love a left-sided French player. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kid from Brest would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you give him a look, it's just his numbers are really, really good, and I think he's gone relatively under the radar. To be fair.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, amongst us, maybe not among football people. But
has he been linked to anyone? You know, has he been linked to anyone recently?
I don't know. I'll Google here, and obviously stories come up, but no one seems to have come up for him thus far.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, I think transfer marks they value him at about £7 million, so it doesn't even seem massively expensive.
Could be then. Yeah. Cheap.
Yeah, he looks decent. Oh, there you go. Man United have been linked to him. There you go.
That's not a shock. We're linked to everyone. Yeah.
To be fair, I think there's always a welcome to Man United video for every wide player in the world. So yeah, there you go. There you go. 11th of January, Man United battle PSG to sign him. There you go.
Oh, great! Yeah.
Perfect. Right. If we're happy with those ones, we can then move on to Chelsea.
Yeah, move on to Chelsea.
All right, let's move on to Chelsea then. 3 players to leave Chelsea. Will start us off.
So I'll start with Ross Barkley. Just purely because been out on loan, and I don't think he'll really get into Tuchel. I don't think Tuchel will like him. I don't think. Plus, they've already got some midfielders as well. With Billy Gilmore coming through as well, I think he's better off going elsewhere, getting more minutes. Someone like Villa would be good for him, I think, permanently.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good for him. Second one, I've got Emerson. Yeah. Just because you got Chilwell, you're 50 mil money, and then you got Alonso, who Tuchel seems to like in that left wing back role. So that's another one. And then I was struggling for the last one. I'm debating whether to go with Kepa or Willy Caballero on who to sell, but I don't know who would want Kepa, to be honest. Cause...
Well, that's what I didn't do. I don't know who's going to buy Kepa.
Yeah, so probably Caballero. I reckon Caballero will be close to retiring anyway, so I think
he's 37 now. Yeah,
he's getting on a bit, isn't he? So just 3 people that aren't really getting minutes, pretty much. Or one of them's out alone anyway.
Yeah, it's 3 like peripheral squad players, really, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think they just got so much attacking talent, so I don't see Barkley getting in. Emerson, he's got 2 better players in front of him.
Yeah,
they're good shouts. I forgot about Barkley because I looked at Chelsea's squad and obviously didn't show Barkley.
Yeah, so did I.
Villa.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Mason Mount just usurps him, doesn't he, completely on that? Has got no chance once Mount established himself, really.
They've still got Loftus-Cheek as well, don't they?
Yeah, he's on loan.
He's at Fulham, isn't he? Yeah.
So I think
26 now.
Barkley.
He probably needs to get away.
Is he 26? I thought he was like 22.
No, he's like 25, 26 years.
Oh, mate, he's getting on.
Yeah.
Still a good player.
Yeah. I like Loftus-Cheek. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Take his age now, actually.
Yeah.
He is... It loads. He is 25.
25's all right. He's still got time.
Yeah.
What are your outs, Jake?
Right, so I have also got Emerson Palmieri, the left back. It just seems like wasted wages. I think he's on nearly 70 grand a week. So
really,
even if you're going to loan him out for 1-2 years, if no one will buy him to take the wages, like even half the wages, whatever 70% of the wages, just get him out of the books. I think.
Yeah.
It's just I mean, Tuchel seems to like Alonso, and obviously Chilwell, as you said, was 50+ million. So you're never going to play him, are you?
No, definitely not.
So Emerson, would be one. I also put down. I put down Kepa as well, but I didn't put him down to sell. So I put him because obviously he's 26, and obviously for goalkeepers, they go to they're 36. So I had him down maybe to go out on loan for maybe 2 years. Because I think Mendy's 28 or 29, so
he's quite old.
If they're going to stick with Mendy, then I think sending Kepa out, because teams like Dortmund are looking for a goalkeeper and others in Europe. Maybe give him 2 years to establish himself somewhere, and maybe they might even then buy him after that time, because he'll only be 28 and getting towards his prime. Because he's on 150 grand a week.
What were your thoughts on Mendy so far this season?
He just seems like a standard goalkeeper.
He's not world class or anything, but he's not made mistakes, and he just does the job really. He's like Schmeichel at Leicester, I think.
He just seems like you don't look at him or watch him and think, he's getting into top 5 European sides other than Chelsea. I think I wouldn't have even seen him going to Chelsea, but.
No,
it's like they were linked with like Onana from Ajax, but obviously he's on that year ban now, so things like that go out the window. And,
I rate him, Onana. I like him.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be playing for next year, Will.
No, bless him.
But so for Kepa, unless anyone will buy, because he was 70 million, so unless they want to take a huge hit, I think loaning him out is maybe the safest thing to do to give him game time. It's the only way he's going to get better, isn't it? Rather than sitting on the bench every week. Kepa, Emerson, and then the other person I had to sell, because I think there'll be a market for him, is Andreas Christensen. Because again, under Lampard, he didn't really play much. Even under Sarri and previous managers, he didn't play a lot, and he hasn't started for Tuchel. Rudiger and Zuma and Azpilicueta getting ahead of him.
And Thiago Silva when he's fit.
And Thiago Silva as well. And I know he's relatively young, but he just, again, hasn't seemed to establish himself in the Premier League. I think he was quite hyped up at 20, and people thought he was going to be a world-beater, but he's quite slight.
He went to Gladbach on loan, did really well, and then he's came back and just hasn't really kicked on.
No different to Lindelof.
Yeah. Just lightweight, isn't it?
It's just a Danish Lindelof.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
I'm not a massive fan, and again, it's another 80 grand a week that you're paying someone to be a squad player.
I don't rate him.
So Christensen, Emerson, Kepa, and then again you can look at Barkley, Loftus-Cheek. They got so much sort of fat on that squad that are out on loan or just in the back room.
I just thought, is Bakayoko? Is Bakayoko on loan?
Yeah, he's out on loan. Yes, mate, he is. Yeah, they still got Bakayoko.
Another one.
What a waste.
No chance. I thought they sold him.
I thought he was on loan still.
I'm pretty sure I saw it the other day. He's on loan still. I
don't know 100%, but I thought he was.
Yeah, I think he is.
Those would be my players really. There you go. Yeah, he's on loan at Napoli. There you go.
Napoli. Bloody hell.
He's been Monaco and other places, isn't he, as well on loan?
Went back to Monaco. AC Milan, who you're out, Tom?
Those are my three. Yeah, go on, Tom.
My three. I've also gone with Emerson. He's just below standard to Alonso and Chilwell, so he can.
He's like Bellerin, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Do you think there's a team that would take both of them?
They'd both be fine in the French league. They just would. In fact, any league. I don't rate any leagues anymore other than the Premier League. I used to think the French league is the only farmers' league, but the German league's shocking. The Spanish league's probably even worse, and the Italian league is so slow. I don't rate any of that, and they're meant to be like the next 4 best. I've no idea what the bloody Portuguese league and the Dutch league.
I'm going to put a disclaimer on the podcast that Tom doesn't represent the views of everybody involved.
I watch all those leagues. They are crap. They just are. The Premier League should be winning.
Bold statement.
The Premier League should be having the most teams in the Champions League and Europa League every season. I think we're starting to see it as well.
Europa League's coming through, isn't it, this year?
Yeah, we're starting to see it every season.
A lot of finalists.
It's so far ahead. But anyway, that's not the point. So get rid of
that's a conversation for another time.
Another day.
Get rid of Emerson. I also said Christensen. They've got so many centre-backs better than him. It's just pointless in being there. And I want to bring in a centre-back. So
he's lightweight.
He can be laid off. And the last one, who neither of you said, was Tammy Abraham.
Ooh.
He's been linked. Okay. He's been linked to
I want to discuss this
a lot of different teams. He's good enough for the Premier League, but he's not. He's never, for me, ever going to be good enough to start for Chelsea with their ambitions. And I don't think he'll be satisfied being a backup forever either, especially when they've got Giroud and Werner can play up there as well. And I want to bring in a striker. So he'll just be surplus to requirements and they can get some good money for him.
He almost feels like, when you look at someone like Origi at Liverpool, do you know what I mean? Where he's just been a backup for 5 years. Or even Gabriel Jesus, where they're looking for an Aguero replacement and no one's saying Jesus, they're saying buy someone else. Do you know what I mean?
I think he should just go back to Villa. He's better than Watkins.
I was going to say go to Villa.
Or West Ham.
He's played there before, hasn't he, at Villa? He was on loan there in the Championship,
Tell you what,
Tom.
West Ham's a great shout, to be fair.
Yeah.
They were linked with him, weren't they, West Ham?
Still in London, so still London-based.
Jake, I was at a game 2 seasons ago, Forest away to Villa, ended 5-5, and Abraham got 4 goals, I think. It was ridiculous. That was a great game.
I like the West Ham shout for him. They need a striker.
Tom's good. I like West Ham.
I think he'd be great out there. How much would he go for? What sort of fee would he get? I don't know.
At least 30 million, I'm sure.
He's also had issues with the contract because Hudson-Odoi got paid like $200 a week, didn't he? His new contract. And then
Hudson-Odoi is one of the highest paid players at the club now.
Abraham wasn't happy about it. Abraham wasn't happy about it. So.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, what would you do with Tomori?
Well, there's an option to buy for Milan, so they've got the power on him, haven't they?
Well, I wouldn't sell him. Why would you sell him?
Well, he's on loan at Milan, and they've got an option, so they can buy him if they want. Yeah, I wouldn't have sold him, but he's already out. You know what I
mean? He still doesn't start for them. I don't know if he's injured, but he's not really played much for them yet.
Who?
Tomori.
He's in Milan now, isn't he? That's it. He's not at the club.
I mean, last few games.
I mean for Milan. Right. He's not played. He's not really done much for Milan yet.
I think he's played 6 games.
Yeah, he's played quite a few.
Yeah. No. I looked the other day. Let's move on.
We're doing ins now.
Shall I go with my ins or go back to Will?
Yeah, mate. Go. Well, I'm easy.
All right. Well, as I said, because Tuchel likes a back 3, I'm not satisfied with their current back 3 for next season, especially if they want to win the league.
Same.
So I want them to get Koundé, and I would hate it if Man United signed Koundé because we play the back 4. I don't want some little hobbit. He's like 5'10", running around the pitch in a back 4. It just wouldn't work. But in a back 3, it doesn't really matter. Especially Azpilicueta, he's basically the same size. And he's fast. He's really confident on the ball. He can get forward like Azpilicueta has done on that right centre back position. And he is a very good defender. He's been brilliant this season for Sevilla. The only reason why I wouldn't want him is because he's small. But in the back 3, that doesn't matter. So the first one for me would be Koundé as a centre back. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, wouldn't Fabio Cannavaro like 5'9"? So, you know.
Yeah, in the Italian league. Did he come to the Prem?
He played for Real Madrid, mate. He played for Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's not in the Prem, is it?
If it's not the Prem, it's not good enough for you, is it?
No, they just wouldn't be good.
Lionel Messi, shit.
They just wouldn't be good. They just wouldn't. Koundé's been brilliant for Sevilla this season. In this weak league, the Spanish league, he could be good in the Premier League, but I think it's a big risk. You never really see centre-backs.
Robert Lewandowski, fraud. Absolute fraud, Robert Lewandowski.
I never said, never even implied that players outside the Premier League are bad. But there are certain types that just wouldn't make it in the Premier League, and he's just a massive dwarf, even though he's bigger than me. That just wouldn't be very well. So
I get your point. I get your point of being more confident in the back 3 with shorter players. That's fair enough. Yeah. But also as well, even in the Premier League, you're getting.
Not seen how many goals we've conceded because Lindelof just gets bullied. He's just a little child in the box, and I just don't want to have that risk with Koundé coming. We linked to him loads, and all these United
I want a big physical man. Then
I really don't want.
We'll get to United in a bit. We'll get to United.
Get me big Koulibaly or something.
Mate, I found you a big centre half for United. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so Koundé to Chelsea, I think it'd be good for them, and then the other 2. I'm going to mention this guy a lot for the other top teams. Braut Haaland. I don't really need to talk about him.
Who?
Chelsea. What do you mean who?
I thought he played for Dortmund, which means he's no good.
How long are you going to cling on to that, Jake?
Mate, all podcast. No, mate, you're absolutely right. Anybody would be lucky to get him.
He's a physical beast. He could walk into any team in any league. The Chelsea, Man City, Man United and Liverpool should all be doing everything they can to get him in the summer.
Agreed.
Chelsea need an actual striker. Giroud he doesn't even cut it now for me. He's underrated, but not good enough to lead the line every game, and he won't be good enough next season, and Werner can't do that job. So they need a striker, and it'll be Haaland for me. And the last pick is Konrad Laimer from RB Leipzig.
Interesting.
He is a very, very aggressive, versatile, quite young player as well, who wouldn't go for too much. He can play in the back three, he can play right wing back, and he can play in the midfield pivot too, behind the front three in their formation. And I just think Kante's not really doing it for them as much as he used to. And Laimer's a very similar player. He's very aggressive, likes to cut up the play. He's very good on the ball, and I think he'd be a very good versatile player to bring in.
Can I just jump in quickly on Konrad Laimer?
Yeah. You like him, don't you, Jake?
Well, Will knows I love Konrad Laimer. He's one of my favourite footballers at the minute. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Laimer. Really? I think actually, if you're gonna, if you're looking at a financial viewpoint on it, I think if you were to be able to get money for Kante and bring Laimer in, you'd probably make a profit on that. Yeah. Given that Kante, I think, is he 29 going on 30 now?
Around that.
And again, are they going to give Kante another deal, more money for, and then he keeps going until he's 33, 34? I don't know. But, they're playing a midfield 2 at the minute, and you've got Mount kind of playing as an 8 and then 1 sitting. Maybe Laimer would be quite a good balance to that.
I think Laimer would be fantastic.
Great balance.
Only if you want to get rid of Kante, because obviously, Kante is absolutely classed as that sort of player, and I think he's been a little bit misused in the midfield 3 with Jorginho and Kovacic over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, definitely.
And they've still got those 2 players obviously as well. So if maybe you would look to shift Jorginho on, but I think again, Laimer for me is one of those players a little bit like Haaland, where if anybody can pick him up, I think it's a really solid buy.
I'll probably get him quite cheap, so we're probably able to as well,
I don't know, Leipzig seem to get... Well, then again, they just sold Upamecano for like 40 million, so it's not even that bad, is it, really? But sorry, Tom, I just wanted to chime in on Laimer because I'm quite a big fan.
Oh, yeah, no, he's a great player. So that's my 3, Haaland, Laimer and Kunde.
I like it.
Nice. Who's next? Jake, you going?
Yeah, mate, I'll go. I think I said to you both before that looking at Chelsea, as I said about them having a lot of fat around the squad, they've got so many players that you kind of look like, do they need anything really? But it's like, if we're gonna sell Christensen and we want a centre half for the future, I've mentioned him to both of you before, but Edmund Tapsoba from Bayer Leverkusen is an absolute animal. He's incredible.
Plays a back 3.
He plays in the back 3. Or, it'd be fair, he's played in the back 2 as well for Leverkusen. But given that his stats would say he's good at stepping out of the back, winning the ball, carrying the ball out as well, if he's got cover in the back 3, I think Tapsoba would fit in perfectly. Yeah, and he's confident with both feet as well, so you can play him at any part of the back 3.
Aggressive,
and
I
think
he's really aggressive.
He's tall. Yeah, he's aggressive. He presses the ball. He steps out to win the ball. Yeah, I think he'd be great.
It's quite funny because I've got written down on a piece of paper, Tapsoba or Kunde.
So. I think if you want some size, I think you go with Tapsoba because he's a bit taller, I think. But
he's just a bit more unknown, isn't he?
Yeah.
In terms of centre, well, go on.
The thing is, I've seen already Azpilicueta get forward as if he's a right wing back at times, and Tapsoba he wouldn't ever do that, but I know Kunde would. I
don't know, mate. Tapsoba's one of the furthest carrying centre halves in Europe at the minute. He carries the ball out loads.
I just don't see him as this big clumpy centre back.
It's a German league again,
sprinting up the pitch.
It is, isn't it? It's not good enough for him.
No, it's an awful league. We've seen it with Werner and Havertz come over. I mean, Haaland for me is the only exception for a player where I'd know he'd be world class coming to any league.
So why are you bringing in Konrad Laimer then?
because he's very aggressive, and that's it. That's
so tap sober, mate. He's very aggressive.
Yeah, no, I think he'd be a good signing, but I don't see him as I don't think he'd be the player to bomb forward.
My only caveat with Chelsea is that they managed to get Malang Sarr on a free from Nice, and he's on loan at Porto, and he's a left-footed centre half. So a little bit like Saliba's out on loan from Arsenal. If Malang Sarr's cutting it, then you can also bring him back to play in a 3 as well.
Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, I got Tapsoba. Again, Chelsea's forward line I'm always a bit weirded out by, because they've obviously got Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech, Mount, Abraham, Giroud. They've got Hudson-Odoi, loads of players. So I look at their forward line, and I know you two don't believe in him, but I still believe in Timo Werner to lead the line. But
really?
we'll see what happens with that. Honestly, Tom underrates him and Havertz so massively, so I'm going to give him time.
But yeah, so to lead the line,
mate. So I've not really looked at forward players because I just think they've got so many. I've actually looked at, because again, I like we said about Mendy, he's not massively, he's not up there as one of the best.
Gone for a keeper, have we?
Faltering. I've gone for a goalkeeper, yeah.
Donnarumma.
Yeah, it has to be.
Have you watched Donnarumma? He looks so weird because his arms are so long. He's really funny when he saves the ball.
Really?
I haven't watched him, really.
But no, so I'm not going for a marquee goalkeeper. I'm going for a young goalkeeper.
All right.
Okay.
So
he is young, isn't he?
I'll tell you the goalkeepers that I considered, right? So there's a few I looked at. So these ones aren't necessarily, they're not young goalkeepers, but the two that are top of my list, if they were going to buy a 28-year-old, 29-year-old goalkeeper, is Areola at Fulham. He's on loan from PSG, right?
Oh, yeah.
His goalkeeping numbers are really good, actually, considering that he gets pelted most weeks at Fulham. He looks like a really good goalkeeper, and I think in a team where you're not under pressure so much, I think he'd be really good.
What I would say though is I have heard with goalkeepers that some can find the transition of being in a team where you have to save lots of shots to moving to a team where you don't.
I heard that.
They can find that quite difficult. So even though he could come in and transition well and find it all right, but it might not go well for him.
As far as I look at it, if you're going to decrease the workload but keep the same quality, then
it doesn't make sense.
Do you know what I mean?
It's just what I've heard some people say about goalkeepers, how they can struggle sometimes.
Yeah. And on the same note, I know he's an ex-United player, but Sam Johnson at West Brom is a really good goalkeeper as well. I think he's really, really good. But again, he's 28.
I've said that, Will.
Mate, honestly, he won't obviously because he's at West Brom. But if you take the West Brom bit out of it, yeah, he's really good. Honestly, he's a really good goalkeeper. And I've got Nick Pope down as well at Burnley because I just think he's underrated all the time.
I don't know about Pope,
I thought they were going to get him. They were really heavily linked to him in the summer, and then they suddenly got Mendy instead. I was quite shocked by that.
So again, those are three goalkeepers I looked at, but the one that I did pick is a goalkeeper called Anthony. I think his surname is Ratchiopi. He's a keeper.
Who the hell is that?
Oh, hang on. I will. So basically, there's a statistic used in metrics, which is called post-shot expected goals minus goals allowed. So essentially, it's the difference between the goals that you should have saved versus what you've let in. And it's a really good marker for goalkeepers that are overperforming or showing an ability to save more than they should be. So, you look at goalkeepers like Nick Pope and Emi Martinez rank really highly because they do save a lot more than they should.
Yeah.
And in terms of every goalkeeper in Europe, Ratchiopi ranks 5th of every goalkeeper in Europe on that stat, and he's only 22. He plays for Dijon in France.
French player.
But he came out of Lyon's academy, so they've got Anthony Lopez at the minute, so he didn't get into the team there. But he's now gone to Dijon and he's performing really well. Yeah. Again, he's only 22 and he wouldn't be that much money, but for a punt on a goalkeeper that's young and looking really good, if you want if you want to try and get rid of Kepa in 2 or 3 years' time, maybe then it may work. Yeah. But I looked at him. Just because I'm thinking of future-proofing a team, something different, exactly. But I didn't look at forward players. Tapsoba would be my big one if they're going to spend any money, because I know he's going to be a lot of money. Same with Koundé, they're going to be 50 million plus as a centre-half.
That is massive Chelsea.
I've only really got 2 players for Chelsea, because I just think they've got so much. But if they wanted a true proper striker, then you can't
that's
go
the
much
one,
further than Erling Haaland, can you?
Yeah.
No.
He's just another level, isn't he? He's so
joke.
big. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I had written down Kunde or Tapsoba, then I had Haaland down, and I just thought I don't know anyone else apart from that. I've just been looking now, and he's been at PSG a while. I don't think he will leave, but if he could, someone like Verratti to take up the Jorginho role, just to keep the ball ticking like Tuchel likes to do, because he has Kovacic and Jorginho, doesn't he?
And he's coached Verratti as well, hasn't he?
Yes.
Obviously,
just someone
really good signing. Yeah,
just someone to just keep the ball moving like Jorginho does in that midfield.
Verratti is very underrated.
Do you know what it is as well? Like I feel like he's almost been wasted at PSG, because if you read about Verratti if you read about him from when he was like at Pescara and things like that, he was rated as being like literally their Gascoigne. Do you know what I mean? Coming through, and then he ended up sort of being deployed as a deeper midfielder rather than box to box. But I'd love to see him play somewhere else other than PSG.
Yeah, same. Keeps the ball so well.
I mean, what is he? Is he like 29 now? He's getting on.
He is,
I
mate.
think. But
he is 28.
He's 28. So if you want to take a punt on him, but that's an interesting shout. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I had though for them. The Chelsea squad's so deep in it, the depth of it, and the amount of attack. Like they got Ziyech, so many good players up front.
And they've probably got a load of players out on loan that we've forgotten about. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, they will, without a doubt. Definitely.
Yeah. But it's a weird one, Chelsea. It almost feels like they're sort of just one or two players away from being absolutely elite, really.
Yeah.
I think a star striker, Haaland, and then another centre-half, I think they might be there.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe a midfielder as well.
If they can't get Haaland, then I'm not sure who else comes in.
Yeah, I suppose.
Off the top of my head, I'm not thinking of any other sort of leading strikers that you can bring in. But then, they brought in Giroud from St Etienne, so they didn't. Obviously, Arsenal did, but players like that you wouldn't necessarily think of. But yeah, sorry, not St Etienne. He's from Montpellier. Apologies.
I didn't even. Yeah. Well, that's Chelsea done.
Yeah, that's Chelsea. Right, we'll come back and have a look at Leicester next. Cool, so we'll move on then to Leicester. 3 players in, 3 players out. I'll start off with 3 players to leave Leicester, and I've only got 1, so that's a good start.
Wait, I didn't know you're allowed to do that.
Well, I couldn't think of 3, so I've gone with 1, and I think he's probably leaving anyway. It's Wes Morgan, which is sad because title-winning captain, but he's 37. He's not going to play. If you want to keep him on, like I said previously, put him in a coaching role. Do you know what I mean, or something along those lines, or as an ambassador, or anything really. Because he's literally
he's like 38, isn't he?
A club icon, isn't he? Given what happened. But I looked at the rest of their team, and I think the rest of their team, if they're going to play in Europe, are all needed for depth. I just think they need to keep everybody, even players like Dennis Pratt and Mendy and Amati, who haven't played huge minutes. They all do a job if they're needed. Amati's come in and played full-back, holding midfield.
He played last night.
Yeah. No, I struggled with picking 3 for that reason. They need these people. So. And
I think we've all spoken about Leicester. I think they might be the best team at recruiting and selling players in the Premier League. I think they're so well run that it's really hard for us to come in and go, oh, they should do this, and they'll make the Champions League, because they're already on that pathway. But I've literally got 1 out, which is Wes Morgan, and the only other player that might not be there next year. So they've had Cengiz Under on loan from Roma, and he's hardly featured. Again, he's a Turkish player, Tom, so you'll love him.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. I actually do rate him. He's Turkish in the Premier League, and I do like him. Yeah, I think
he just plays very, does he? No, he gets
and that's the point, isn't it? It's really hard to assess how well.
A rotating backup winger, he's not bad.
He's good.
Yeah. And when we come on to signings, I think right mid is where they're weakest. So I've got a right mid to come in. Well, yeah, because on the left, Harvey Barnes sorts that out, doesn't he? But on the right, they pushed Pereira up there, didn't they? So yeah. But I've literally got Wes Morgan, and I'm gonna drop out on that, mate.
Yeah. Tom, do you want to go?
Yeah. So I didn't know we were allowed to only choose 1, but the 3 I went with was Wes Morgan,
Yeah, he's 37, you know.
Yeah, I know. Amartey, even though I think Amartey is needed for the squad depth, but I thought we were forced to kick out 3. So he'd be
to be fair, if I had to pick a second one, I'd probably say Daniel Amartey.
Yeah, because they've got Chowdhury and Pratt and people. So I don't think they'd struggle with that Amartey, but he's there. If they wanted to do well in Europe, then he's good for depth. And the other one was Christian Fuchs.
Ooh, I like it.
Because they've got they've got Castagna at left back. They've also got that Luke Thomas coming in, who's doing quite well.
And James Justin's played there all season as well, hasn't he?
I knew I was forgetting someone. So James Justin will probably be their starting left back. So they've got a lot of covering left back, and I don't think Fuchs will be needed.
Do you know what? I forgot to put Christian Fuchs down on my list.
Yeah, he's also on my list. I've got one more that you haven't mentioned, but I think it might be a bit of a curveball for you, lads.
Whoever you... Oh, bloody, I can't get my words out. Whoever you say, Will, I'm sure I'll disagree with, because I looked at all their players and I just think it'd be hard for them to get rid of anyone. Even in
I have got Iosi Perez down.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm listening. He's only got 1 goal in 16 appearances this season. He's only played 36 minutes this season. And I know a lot of Leicester fans don't rate him at all. A lot of Leicester fans who my brother knows and Sam Doran knows, Tom, you know, like Matt Bryant, they don't rate him at all. They think he's not very good.
Oh yeah, no, he's not good enough to start. I didn't kick him out. I thought he'd be a good backup because he can play anywhere in the front 3 really.
So he wasn't a Brendan Rodgers signing, was he? Did he come under Claude Puel? I can't remember who bought him. I didn't think he was a Brendan signing. I can't remember.
He did well the first season he was at Leicester.
Again, like, it's weird, isn't it? Like, I didn't really rate him at Newcastle, and then he got bought by Leicester, and I was like, oh, okay.
There's no rush to sell him if they're going into Europe. I think he'd be a good backup.
True.
And if they realise next season that he was just crap and not even good to rotate, then they can get rid of him. But right now,
but it was again, I was struggling for people, and I thought it would be the worst one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and as well, if you're going to bring another attacker like we are about to say, or 2 maybe, then you probably could make a way, maybe.
Yeah. True.
He's bringing in 1 or 2.
So who are you bringing in, Jake?
Okay, I've got 3. I've got 3 players that I think will really push Leicester on. Right. So my first one is it's more of a squad depth player because they haven't got, apart from Christian Fuchs, a naturally left-footed left back at the minute. I know they brought in Castagna. He's a right-footed player like James Justin has been playing there as well. And Castagna, to be fair, has played as a wing back for Atalanta, you know, in a 3 at the back anyway. So I think he could even be pushed forward even more. And also could play at left back. But it's a player called, his name is Mathieu Udol. So he's from, again, the French league. But he's playing for Metz in Liga, and they're 6th this year. They're having quite a good season. He's only 24. He's a left-footed left back, which Leicester haven't got. I think this season they became one of or the only teams to play 11 right-footed players in a match day.
Really?
So they seem to be lacking lefties at the minute. Yeah. But again, transfer mark, they've got him down at around £2 million in value, and his stats are literally identical in this season. So
really?
If you're going to put someone in that's actually left-footed and you want to then maybe play Justin on the right or rotate him with Pereira, depending on what you do with, because obviously he's been injured this season. I think as a squad player, if they're going into the Champions League or into the Europa League, he's literally it's like having 2 James Justins. So I think he'd be perfect. Yeah,
that's a good shout, that is.
Because I couldn't believe I found him. I was looking for creative fullbacks, and then I compared him to James Justin, and they're almost the same player, just with a French name and an English name. So I think he'd be decent. My other one, I've mentioned him already. So Kasper Schmeichel's 34. So again, I'm future-proof in that position. They've got Danny Ward, but I believe Danny Ward has played less than 5 games for any parent club he's ever been at. So Danny Ward just doesn't play football. So I'm not having him as Leicester's future goalkeeper. So again, if they get relegated this season, I think you can poach Sam Johnston at 27 years old for Leicester long term. I think he'd be great.
Maybe Areola, maybe.
Yeah, well, Areola's obviously at PSG as well, though, isn't he? So I don't know what they may do with him. And I think he'd be more higher in wages than Sam Johnston. So I think if they're looking for, because Leicester tend to be quite sensible, I think Sam Johnston to come in, maybe play a season as a backup, because then Kasper, I think, will be 36 by the end of next year. Yeah. So
Or just getting agreement sorted maybe early.
Yeah, or maybe even sign him and he stays on loan at West Brom again, or he goes out on loan for a season. But I just think he's the right age to come in and play maybe 5-6 seasons for Leicester when Schmeichel retires or leaves, maybe to go back to Denmark or MLS or wherever he goes.
I'll tell you, he could be a good little goalkeeper for them. Bit of like Arsenal, Emi Martinez, Sergio Romero from us.
Yeah. He would. Romero's like the best third keeper in the world.
I rate him a lot. I just don't see why he'd want to go to be the backup keeper at Leicester.
No, probably not. But I mean, we're looking. Is he 29? Romero? Is he 29? Isn't he?
Around that age, yeah.
Isn't he?
Well, I don't know.
I want to say 30. I do.
I'm obviously. I'm also. I'm championing. Oh, is he? Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not.
Maybe not then.
Ignore
me.
Ignore me as well.
But
I'm all for English players getting more minutes. So if he can go and play for Leicester, Sam Johnston, then I think he'd be great.
Yeah, I agree.
And so then those would kind of be two, I'd say, relatively cheap signings in terms of like when Liverpool poached Andy Robertson from Hull when they got relegated, or paid out $7 million for him. I think Johnston would be cheap. I think Udall would be cheap as well. My big one, and you'll both know who he is Wamangituka from Stuttgart.
Ooh.
I don't know who that is.
I do know who
you don't
that
know
is.
Wamangituka? Oh, Tom, you got to Google him, mate. He's phenomenal.
Who the hell is Wamangituka?
So
you'd know.
So he's a Congolese player, so the same nation as Belassi.
He's your big signing.
Tom, honestly, he would be a lot of money.
Player from Congo playing for Stuttgart. He's the big signing.
Tom, he's a massive signing, mate. Honestly. So he's playing for Stuttgart at the minute.
Wow.
He's got 11 goals from right midfield this season.
3 assists.
Yeah, and also because he's playing in a team that play a back three as a right midfielder, his defensive numbers are really good as well. So his work rate is really high. And Leicester again have played a back three at times, but even in that they play 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 on the right. I mean, he's skillful, he's pacey, he can score. Just him, Barnes, Vardy, Maddison as a 4 is great.
Good,
with Tielemans and whoever else behind, I think is absolutely solid. I think he would be a 30, 40, 50 million pound player from Stuttgart.
Absolutely no right. There's no.
He's not 50.
Would not go.
Mate, honestly, they'll want money for him.
40 million. Well, tell them to go home then. Go away. Stop negotiation. If they wanted 40 million, that would be outrageous.
If they get it for like 30 million, I think it'd be worth it.
Yeah. 30 million would be a good buy.
But I like him a lot, and I think he would really add to their team, like a lot. It's just, they need a right midfielder, I think.
Fair enough. Okay.
But yeah, that's my 3. Udall, Johnston, Wamangituka. I think they would push Leicester on a bit. Obviously, the other big one is Jamie Vardy, but I am finding it impossible to find the new Jamie Vardy.
A replacement. Yeah.
Well, I can help you with that one.
I'm glad someone's got one.
Nice one. So I'll go next so you can wait for Tom's suspense of the big
Lovely.
Of the big one. Left back. They were linked to him last summer and were quite close to getting him. They were when Chilwell left, and it's Tagliafico from Ajax.
Oh yeah.
They were linked to him quite heavily.
I rate him a lot. Yeah.
Transfer market rated him as 20 million, so he's not over the price. And yeah, he's just a solid left back. I'm pretty sure.
I don't really know how well he's been doing the last couple of seasons,
sure.
but in that great season they had in the Champions League where they got
robbed by
Tottenham. He was brilliant in that competition, and I thought he'd go to a top club, but he's just stayed
Chelsea. I didn't he was linked with as well for a while.
Yeah, I mean, linked so heavily to them last year. He was. I don't know why I didn't join. I can't remember, but and. This is what I call a bigger signing, Jake. Leon Bailey for right wing.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
From Leverkusen, he's been unreal this season. I'm pretty sure. And right side, I think he'd do a great job. I think he'd do a great job on the right side. I think for them, he's valued at 30 million as well for transfer market.
Again, I think he's one that's going to go for a little bit more
signing.
than that.
And then you'll probably get for more, but
I think he'd be like a Bergwijn. I think he's doing well right now, and he's young and will definitely improve. I think one day he could be good, but right now, if he came over, I think he'd have no bigger impact than Bergwijn.
And this season he's got 6 goals, 6 assists, and 5 goals, 2 assists in the Europa League. Really good stats.
He's a left-footed right winger as well, isn't he? So you get that sort of inverted winger again that most teams look for.
Prem and be scared, in my opinion. But I think he could be good, and I could be wrong as well. He could come and do really well straight away.
Tom, I hope you're never on recruitment for any team, because you'd be like, we're only buying English players in the Premier League. Honestly, we're not looking outside of England.
I'd be more inclined to go to the Championship than the French League. But anyway.
Oh, you've ruined all my plans.
And then the last, I really know to have for the last one. I was going to do a replacement for Jamie Varney, but again, I just couldn't find one. So I was hoping that one of you had one. It sounds like Tom does. So take it away, Tom.
So
let's see
I'll
you've got
that one to the last pick. But
lovely.
First of all, I really like centre back pair Evans and Soyuncu, but they struggle a bit when either of them get injured. Wes Morgan, obviously, I want to get rid of. So I think they need another centre back. And
they've got Fofana.
Yeah, I know, but that Liverpool had every team needs 5 centre backs,
4 or 5
to rotate with, and Arsenal, United, Chelsea, City, even Spurs had that coming into the season, and Liverpool didn't, and that's why they've absolutely stacked it. So the 2 people they signed in January, they should have had at the start of the season. And Leicester are the same. They don't have enough centre backs of quality. They've got Fofana, Soyuncu, and Evans, and then they struggle. So I went for another centre back, and this guy is very injury prone, but is very good. I think very good. He's good in the Premier League.
This will be interesting. Who is it?
And I don't mind the fact he's injury prone, because obviously I think Soyuncu and Evans are good enough to play anyway if he's not fit. But I went with Eric Bailly. I knew you'd laugh at that. And I don't think we'd sell him, but I only went for him because I was thinking he'd be perfect at Leicester. Physical.
Tom, this is very clever, because you'd want to sell him from United, and you've already found a buyer. So love that.
No, I don't want to sell Bailly. I'd want to sell Lindelof, this Swedish lightweight. Get him gone before Bailly. But I think he'd do very well at Leicester, and he'd give them the depth they need at the back.
I think Bailly will go just because I reckon United will sell him just because his injuries are so high. Exactly. I think he will go this year.
He is very injury prone, but Leicester do need a centre back, without a doubt. I think. So I went with Bailly because I just know him and he's prem proven. And then I also agree they do need a right midfielder. So I went with, again, what I know, prem proven. He can only get better. Rafinha for Leeds.
Ooh, I like it.
Make the step up to Leicester. I think he'd be desperate to do well, and he's a Brazilian. Yeah. He'd want even a bigger move to maybe Barca or Madrid one day, and I think his trajectories keep going up. I think he's very impressive.
Quite young, isn't he, as well?
He'd be quite expensive, but they do need to sort out a good right winger, and I think Rafinha would do really well for them. Yeah. So that was my second pick. And then the strikers, I didn't really choose 2 strikers to bench Vardy. I still think Vardy's good enough to start next season, but he's getting to a point where Vardy needs to be rested more. He might need more help. Maybe if they want to do 2 up front, and he could get injured more as well. And I don't trust Iheanacho to be a good backup, just like Origi for Liverpool.
Definitely not.
I thought of 2 players. I don't know how much they'd be valued at, but the first one was Callum Wilson from Newcastle. I think he'd be perfect. He wouldn't mind going to the bench of a Champions League club, assuming they got Champions League, even a Europa League club. I think he's got the highest conversion rate in the league out of any striker. He's English, 29. I think he'd be brilliant at Leicester, and I don't think Newcastle would demand loads for him. So that's the first one. And the other one, I can't believe I'm saying this, but is it Adrian Silva? Andre Silva, that's it. Andre Silva from Frankfurt.
Oh, yeah.
Andre Silva. Yeah. He's doing brilliantly in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, isn't he?
As you know, that isn't everything. He could be crap. He was crap at Milan. He's come to the Bundesliga and he's come to Frankfurt and he's got 19 goals in 21 minutes. No, 21
Going
games.
against everything you've said before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's why I'm a bit worried about him. I'm not saying he'd come over and be great. I think he'd be a good bench player potentially. But Jovic was at Frankfurt and bagged for them, went to Madrid and was crap. Werner was in the Bundesliga and come over and was crap. Joelinton was all right in the Bundesliga, has come over and is the worst signing ever. So Silva, I wouldn't be surprised if they bought him and he was awful, but based off stats and they need a striker to rotate with Vardy, he could be the one. So
good shout.
They were my 2.
I know you don't rate Bundesliga players, Tom, but of all the players we said, genuinely, Andre Silva would be a ridiculously expensive backup striker, I think. He would, based on this season, they'll demand a massive fee for him. It'd be like when they sold Allaire for 40 million.
To be a bench striker, because Vardy, he would come in and he wouldn't start initially, but the fact that Vardy is now 34, Andre Silva would only be on the bench for a season at most, and then they'd want to bed him in to be their starting striker next season.
I mean, Frankfurt are going to be a Champions League team next season. They're third at the minute as well.
But I don't know why he'd want to stay at Frankfurt. And if Leicester want to compete in Europe and they need depth and they need a striker that is going to replace Vardy.
I mean, if they can afford him, absolutely, I'd have him. He looks great this season. Like you said, at Milan he wasn't amazing, but he looks amazing this year.
I mean, that just shows the Bundesliga for you. So I'm not even convinced by him, to be honest, Joe. I think Callum Wilson's the better option.
Mate, based on all of this, Erling Haaland is going to be a huge flop when he leaves.
It could be, but he won't be.
No chance.
18 goals in 13 Champions League games at the age of 20. More goals than games at Dortmund and Salzburg. There's absolutely no way he would flop at any team. He's a born goal scorer, and he's he's just a monster. I'll put £1,000 on him not flopping. He's the Bundesliga exception. The rest, they're it's just, I never used to think like this, but from what I've seen from so many people that have left the Bundesliga and just done nothing, it's verging on embarrassing. And then also, in lockdown, before the Premier League came back for the restart last season, the Bundesliga was the first to come back, so I watched a lot of the games in it, and again, it's just such a poor quality of football, in my opinion anyway, but...
I mean, again, once again, Tom's views don't represent everybody's on this podcast.
Yeah,
we might have to have a debate of where we put each league, but we'll save that for another time. But I think we're all agreeing then that where's Morgan's going, and we're signing a right midfielder. It looks like.
Yeah,
and probably a left back
a minimum,
a defender, a defender.
Yeah, a defender of some description.
They need to sort out Vardy's replacement ASAP.
Champions League incoming.
Yeah, they need depth, don't
possibly.
They? So have to move on to Liverpool.
Right, so 3 in, 3 out at Liverpool. Tom, we're back to you to go first.
Oh wow, okay. So the 3 out for me at Liverpool, very simple. I know you disagree with this, Jake, but Firmino is the most overrated player.
Here we go.
He needs to go. I think it was the season where Liverpool finished second to Man City by a point. Firmino was unbelievable in that season at bringing everyone into play. He still does that, but he was also getting more goals. And that was the season where people started to realise he was actually a good player. And that's when everyone started saying, oh, he's so underrated, so underrated. And I thought, yeah, fair enough, he probably is underrated. And then Liverpool won the league last season. And even though they won the league and he was still good, I could see him slowing down a bit. And I thought, well, is he underrated? I don't know, he just doesn't really look great. And then this season, bloody hell, he's just shit. Simply, you don't need to say he's still underrated anymore. He's getting on a bit. He's been there a while. People are starting to find out like how he plays. He's very limited, and he's just not, the amount of chances he misses is laughable. So they need a proper striker. They need to freshen things up, change the system around.
They need a proper striker, 6'5", bags goals. That's who they need, Tom.
And it is Erling Braut Haaland, yeah. So get rid of Firmino, without any doubt. He's the first one. The next two, I wouldn't get rid of Wijnaldum, but I know that he probably wants to leave, and I think they can get good money for him.
He's leaving.
So my second pick was Wijnaldum, and I've got someone to come in to replace that role.
Tom, I will say they won't get any money for Wijnaldum because his contract's up at the end of the season.
Oh, is that it? Is that why he's going?
Yeah, he's going on a free at the minute. Yeah.
He's going to Barcelona, I'm pretty sure.
Well, he's off, so he's
definitely leaving.
On the list.
Yeah.
Even though I do like
definitely
him.
Leaving.
And the third player is Matip, which...
Oh yeah.
You'll probably disagree with. I think he's quite a good centre back, but whilst he's at Liverpool, he's going to be the one that starts next to Van Dijk.
Yeah.
And I want to bring in a world-class centre back to go next to Van Dijk with the likes of Joe Gomez and Kabak and the people they've already got as the backups. Matip I don't think he'd be happy being a backup, and they could get some money for him. So that's why I chose Matip.
Yep. Interesting.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to say mine.
Yes, mate.
I've got down, surprisingly enough, Wijnaldum and Matip. But instead of Firmino, I knew Tom was going for him after that conversation the other day. I've gone for Mane.
Oh, God.
Just purely because
No.
I think a lot this season, he's been poor this season, and I know a lot of Lawrence on the kickoff and that Irish geese on the kickoff said that he's likely to leave the summer because he just doesn't look into it anymore, and I think he's looking for a move away.
Said that about Salah and Mane last season, but I don't think he's going to leave. And I think if the squad's freshened up, he might have a better season next season. I still rate Mane. I don't know.
I think you might get an informal warning for that comment, mate. Said in Sadio Mane. Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think they should, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. That's what I'm going to say.
But yeah, it'll be an interesting summer if he does.
It's knocked me for 6, that has.
The grass
Jesus.
isn't always greener. They will struggle to find someone to do much better than Mane, but I don't know.
Mate, didn't he finish like 5th in the Ballon d'Or, just gone, or 4th in the Ballon d'Or? I mean...
Yeah, I'm not saying he's bad. I just feel like they're going to cash in on one of the front three this year, and I feel like it could be Mane.
Well, then they are clowns.
Fair enough. So your 3 out was Matip and Mane, and who else? Sorry,
Wijnaldum. He's definitely leaving. Yeah. Wijnaldum. He's definitely leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Van Alden down. The problem again is it's the age profile thing. So he's 29, and if you're going to chuck him a 3 or 4 year deal on, whatever, 150, 200 grand a week, I just don't think it's worth it long term. So yeah, I think let him walk if he wants to walk, unless he wants to sign a deal for what he's being paid now. My other one to consider is Adrian in goal, just to let him go, because every time I watched him this year, he's just looked like
he's a shit,
uncomfortable. Just doesn't seem to save a lot. I don't know. Just doesn't, like, at West Ham he was like reasonable, and I thought coming as a backup he'd be really good. But at the times he had to stand in the last couple of years, he just looks awful.
When he first came when he first came in, he was quite good, and then he just suddenly depleted.
I mean, he's on 50 grand a week, and 34. If you can find somewhere to put him, sell him, loan him, whatever, I'm not a massive fan, and I still think goalkeeper long term is somewhere Liverpool we're going to have to look at, because is it Kelleher as well, who's played a couple of games, but again he's not going to get a lot of minutes. So yeah, Adrian I'm letting go, and then I looked at another centre midfielder as well. So they've obviously got Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, who haven't really featured despite injury problems at Liverpool with Henderson and Fabinho stepping out. Neither of them have been relied upon. Xherdan Shaqiri's played in midfield more than them two. So I would look to sell one of those two. I'm not sure which one, even though I like Oxlade-Chamberlain and I like Naby Keita, but neither of them have seemed to have settled. Like Oxlade-Chamberlain, when he first came in, was good, and then he got injured, and then he's not really established himself again.
It was a bit like Lallana.
Yeah, injuries just seems to have killed his career. You know what I mean? From when he was at Arsenal and at Liverpool. And Naby Keita, they spent 50 million on him, and he's only 26. So, again, if they could... I know he's been injured this season, but maybe they can give him some time. But, so again, I think he's the 8th or 7th highest paid player at the club, and he doesn't feature. So, whatever you want to do with him. But, yeah, Keita or the Ox, along with Van Alden and Adrian, I think just mops up so much of your wage bill.
Yeah. Do you also not... Jota coming back for him, how good he was? Mane could have moved on for Jota to come in.
Potentially, you could also. I mean, if you dislike Firmino as much as Tom does, he could step into that role like he has done as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. I do think one of the front three will go this year.
It's a good time to sell them because of their age. They're all 28, 29. So
they've reached the end of This is the 4th year together, isn't it? They've definitely reached the end of it.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to fresh it up and go again, maybe, yeah. If you've got the money for Haaland, do you know what I mean?
I know. I might have to rethink my ins thinking about this. I didn't really think
what? Now you're considering getting rid of one of the front three?
Oh no. I was just.
Oh,
I put the 3 names I put in. I think they should get, but it would cost a lot. It would cost a lot.
Right.
Actually, no, they can do it. Well, anyway, I'll start with the ins. So this would be a big summer for them. But they won the league last season. They won the Champions League 2 seasons ago. Their average net spend over the last 4 seasons has been 25 million, which is just awful. To be honest, they need to spend more. If they want to compete with City and not go another 30 years without a title, then with the squad they have now, they need to take advantage of that. Take advantage of the fact they've still got Klopp and really spend big to freshen them up to challenge again next season, because this season's been pitiful. So I've gone very big with the 3 signings. As you know, I want to get rid of Firmino. And to be fair to Firmino, he's quite a unique player in the role he does. There's not many false nines out there that could do a similar role to him. So I think they need to change the system and just go for a proper number 9. And there's no one greater than that for Haaland. So he's the first one, who'd be about 85, 90 million. The second player I went with is Varane. He would be £50 million, because I know he's refusing to sign a contract and would go for free next summer. So he's rumoured to be going around for about 45, 50 million. And I think him partnered with Van Dijk would be a world-class pairing that they need. I don't want them to have Joe Gomez or Matip. It's just not good enough, especially if Van Dijk got injured again. So get a world-class centre-back to come in. And the last one is Jack Grealish, who I think is very versatile. He'd be about 60, 70 million. So in total, it would be about a £200 million summer. But Chelsea did that in the recent summer. City do it quite a lot. We've done that before. And with all the money they've accumulated and not spent over the last few seasons, they can do that. But I know their board won't, which is a shame for them and quite funny for us. So Grealish is my last pick, because with Wijnaldum going, I could see Grealish as that left centre mid kind of player, because they have that holding midfielder with 2 in front. Henderson's that right centre mid who can cover for Trent. But Grealish, he just roams about the pitch quite a lot. He runs around, he's very aggressive, and he would cover the pitch and press like Klopp would want a player to do. And I think he'd be that creative player behind the front 3 they'd need, especially if Firmino went, because they wouldn't have that striker dropping deep to create for the wingers. So I think Grealish would be perfect for that role.
That's a good shout.
Three massive buys, isn't it? That is.
It
3
is.
huge buys. It's almost like career mode, isn't it there, Tom?
Well, no, Chelsea did more than that. Like if they had the ambition, then they could do those 3 signings easily. There's no way you can tell me Liverpool couldn't afford that. So, but I know they won't do it. That's not the
I honestly think that if they were the ones that had signed Timo Werner, he'd have fitted better there, playing almost like you know how Mane and Salah are almost like they're like wide strikers, aren't they, rather than wingers? And then Firmino's behind. I think if Werner had been playing as that sort of left-sided wide striker, he'd have had a lot of better time than playing as almost like a left winger for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't see. I think Haaland's just not going to happen, because the system just won't. I know you say change the system, but I just don't think it will change.
They
I don't think they will.
There's no one. They play with a striker that drops deep, and there's not really many out there, and Firmino just doesn't cut it. Klopp needs to find a striker, because he managed Dortmund with Lewandowski. He knows how to use things with those kind of strikers.
Maybe Jota could do the job.
Oh, well, it won't work. They put Jota there and they won't win the league again.
Interesting, Tom. Will, who have you got coming in?
I only found one for replacing Wijnaldum. And I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it Pedro Goncalves from Lisbon?
Oh, Gonçalves.
Yeah, that's it. From Sporting Lisbon. They've been linked to him in January, they were. He's based, and this season he's got 14 goals in 19 games, 2 assists, and he's plays in that left centre mid role very much. He does attacking as well. So, and he's quite similar to Bruno apparently.
Yeah, another Bruno that would be.
Yeah, so that's what I think for them for that role. Just looks like quite a good player. He does.
Yeah,
and then the other one, I couldn't really find any top left wingers, because obviously I'm to replace Mane, aren't I? So I put Jota there, but I feel like they could go someone from like Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich got 3 wingers, haven't they? In Koeman, Gnabry, and Sane. So I feel like they could probably go nick one of them, maybe, or someone else. I'll put Koeman down, but I don't know how realistic that would be, though.
I mean, of the three, he's been the one linked away most, isn't he? So
that's what I thought.
Be the most realistic of the three.
They made them even worse.
Yeah. I was struggling for Liverpool indoors.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's hard to replace Mane or Salah because of how good they've been.
Got goals this year and 12 assists in 23 games.
Yeah.
But obviously, Tom's argument is that the Bundesliga is shit and he'd only get 2 goals over here. So,
The thing is, yeah, exactly, Jake. He plays for Bayern Munich. In that league, he should be getting those numbers.
I get what you mean, Tom.
I don't mind coming across as ignorant towards the Bundesliga. I find it a laughable league.
Yet again, that does not represent the views of everyone.
Thank you, Will. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll say it this time.
Yeah.
Have you got any more, mate, or is it just the 2?
No, I was struggling. Because I think maybe centre half, and Tom said earlier, Koulibaly could be an option for them.
They need a centre back.
Yeah,
Koulibaly,
I think the top one.
Literally anyone that is rated, just bring him in, put him next to Van Dijk.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Necessary.
I was thinking with centre back, I was looking more at United because I've got a long list of United centre backs we could go for. A very long list.
Right then, I'll go with my 3 picks then. Obviously, I rate Firmino a lot higher than either of you do for what he does. And the problem with Liverpool this season is they look shit, but they've had essentially 4 players out of position in that team. Because, 2 centre halves out, and then that moves Henderson and Fabinho out of place. So it's almost like you've got 4 players missing in that team, really. I think if all 4, even if it's Gomez or Matip alongside the other 3, they'd be so much closer to City than they are this season.
If they had no injuries, they'd be top of the league, but they've got only themselves to blame. I don't hear any
that's the point.
Injuries.
But that is the point. Is that if they had a full team, they'd still be up there. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think they're as of yet on a downward trend as some teams do when they come to the end of a cycle. They may be approaching it because of the age of the front 3. But I think if they can get everybody back and fit next year, they'll be fine.
Firmino this year though in front of goal, it's Werner levels. It really is poor.
But again, Tom, I told you before, I don't care about goals for Firmino, mate. I don't care about goals.
You can only use that to an extent. That was everyone's argument 2 seasons ago when he was unbelievable. He wasn't getting the goals or anything. Like last season, I don't think he scored at Anfield once, but you could forgive him for it. But it's got to a point where now it's ridiculous. There's only so much else you can do as the number 9 when you're not scoring. And
I mean, I don't. But he isn't even really a 9, is he? Do you know what I mean? He just isn't. Well, he's not a striker.
He is. That's his role, but he doesn't play like that, which is fine. That's not the system.
Yeah, but it's almost like on
he's taking up that slot.
Yeah, but he is. The team. Essentially, though, he almost isn't. He's almost playing as an attacking midfielder, and they're playing Mane and Salah up front. It just on paper they're playing 4-3-3.
He's always in the box, and
but Bruno Fernandes is always in and around the box, isn't he? But he's not a striker.
Yeah, and he gets goals. Yeah, and he gets goals.
Yeah, but I'm saying on paper he's not really a striker. Do you know what I mean?
That's not his given role. Like Klopp doesn't say, right, you're my goal scorer this season. I understand that. But he's cost Liverpool a lot of points from missing a lot of easy chances, and he's getting on a bit now, and I just don't see him recovering from that at all.
I think it'll be absolutely fine next year with a full team, but I've essentially found I've found a long-term replacement for him. Because I think he's 29 now.
All right.
So there's a player, and Tom will hate it because he plays in France and he's French. There's a player called his name is Amin Ghouri, and he plays for Nice.
I've heard of him.
Oh, I know him. Yeah.
Yeah. So statistically, he is the closest player I think you can find to Roberto Firmino from last season. His stats are again almost identical, and he's 21, which in my head means he can only get better. He's. Again, I mean, transfer marks have put his value at 25 million, so he's evidently rated by a lot of people because he's not one of those young players you find that are like 5-10 million. But statistically, if Klopp wants to keep playing this system with the false 9, he seems to just fit like a glove in terms of a long-term replacement. But as you said, Tom, if they want to change the system and go for a different striker, then it changes who you buy. But if they want a Firmino replacement, he's the closest thing too.
I think a Firmino replacement is the best option, but I just don't see anyone out there right now. I mean, this kid you're talking about has the potential to be that. I don't know if he'd be able to do the job straight away.
No, and again, you probably take a bit of bedding in physically in that, as most players do in the Premier League. But if you can keep him there while Firmino's still playing, then keep giving him more and more minutes and see what happens. Again, Jota's played there and looked really cool as well, but he seems more of a winger a lot of the time. Like long term for one of Mane or Salah, because I think he's 24, isn't he? But I think with those two and then an additional player in the future, you start to rebuild your front three for when the other three leave. So I think that's what they got to look to do now, because Origi's not going to play there, is he? So yeah, that would be my first one. My second one, I'll mention him to you both, is a centre half called Nikola Milenkovic, plays for Fina. Tom and said he's a car horse, so we'll dismiss him on that one. But I mean, he's 6'4.5", and his passing stats are better than Van Dijk's from last season, from the title-winning year. Yeah. So, and also, again, if I go into the stats of it, in terms of centre-halves versus dribblers, so the percentage that they tackle dribblers, Van Dijk was about 40%, Gomez is about 45% last year. Milenkovic is at 77%. So, again, one-on-one, he looks absolutely solid. He's got more blocks, more pressures, more tackles than Van Dijk and Joe Gomez. But that'll be because, obviously, Fiorentina are under pressure more than Liverpool. That's obvious. But again, he shows that with the workload and that, he can cope. And he's 6'4.5". I mean, if you want another big, tall, powerful centre-half...
Also, Jay, he's played right back and also right centre half as a back three, and obviously Van Dijk's on the left, and obviously if he plays on the right and Trent's always pushing up, he's good. He's comfortable in them wide positions.
Yeah, I think if you add him to that back four, and obviously given if they can get back to the full team where Henderson drops in or Fabinho drops in and the fullbacks push on, I think he just keeps them balanced with his size and his presence. So. And obviously, I would put Tapsoba in anybody's team, but I wouldn't put him in Liverpool's, I don't think, because of how attacking the fullbacks are. I think if he steps up as well, then it's Van Dijk versus the world, isn't it, really? But
that's why I don't want him.
The only thing I'd say with this, if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be a bit worried because they've got such a good team, and it's ageing a bit, and they've got Klopp as well, and they could find themselves like when Fergie left, where they've suddenly got an old team, Klopp leaves, and they're screwed again. So I think they need to take advantage of the situation right now, and they can't take a risk with players that could have potential. Like Milenkovic could come in and be brilliant, or he could just come in and be like Kabach has, really. That's the only reason why I chose Varane or someone who we know would come in.
Even like...
be good.
Even like Jordan Henderson's 30.
Exactly. They need to watch it, Liverpool. Their board have let them down in the recent summer, I thought. And that's why their board has cost them the title. Because I mentioned the centre-backs. They came into this season with Matip, Gomez, Van Dijk. And then behind those three, who did they have?
Phillips.
Exactly. Every other team had 5 centre-backs. Liverpool had 3, plus these Phillips and Williams. I mean, who even are they? So the 2 people they signed in January should have already been there, and they've been let down. And if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd hope that wouldn't happen again this summer, but I think it will. So we'll see what happens.
It's a fair point.
Europa League could affect them as well. If they don't get top 4, that could really be bad for them.
Yeah.
The only thing with Liverpool is that they obviously rate Joe Gomez, and given his age profile and that he's English, it does feel like that they're going to start him regardless. And if they're going to bring another centre half in, then I know I've said Milenkovic and I'd bring him in, but I think you're right that they have to bring in someone who's a massive name to displace Gomez. Even though I'm not massively sure on Gomez, I think the image around him being in that team is that it needs to be a world beater to replace him.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Hey, would you, as a really out-the-box signing, because he's available on a free this summer, Sergio Ramos?
Definitely. I'd have Ramos.
He would be the sort of player, do you know what I mean? He's the sort of player that would displace someone like that because of his presence as captain, as a footballer.
Yeah.
I'll add him to make a 4 on my listing because I love Ramos. But
yeah,
please don't get him though, Liverpool. Please don't.
Teach Gomez a few things.
I mean, it would be
Gomez
like
is so overrated. Don't rate him at all.
Look at Thiago Silva. Like they got him in there to. You look at Thiago Silva at Chelsea. You know what I mean? They brought him in to be a leader for the younger centre halves, haven't they? So if you bring someone like Ramos in with Phillips, Kabak, and Gomez there as well, along with Van Dijk. I mean, Van Dijk and Ramos. How unfair is that? As a back
Van
two.
Dijk and any centre back is unfair. Lindelof would be great next to Van Dijk.
I don't know about that, mate.
I don't know about that one, mate.
No. Well, anyway, so is that Liverpool done?
No, I've got one more, mate. I've got one more for Liverpool. Yeah, because I only had 2. I had Guri and Milenkovic as my first 2.
Cool.
Right. So again, you probably will have heard of him. So this is my Wijnaldum replacement.
All right.
So he's been linked to Liverpool literally in the last 2 days for £27 million, which I think is a bargain for him, right? So he's a Udinese centre midfielder, Rodrigo de Paul.
Heard of him.
The Argentinian, and he literally his defensive stats are the same as Wijnaldum, so you don't lose that at all, which is good. Right. But his attacking stats, I think he's like the 4th or 5th highest shot creating centre midfielder in Europe at the minute, behind Jack Grealish, Messi, and 2 others, I think. So he's as a box to box progressive passer, ball carrier. He's got everything. He is as a box to box / sort of pure centre midfielder. He looks immense, and if they can only get him for £27 million, he looks a bargain. He's my third one. Anyway, I think those 3 would really add to them.
Yeah, give them the depth.
Oh, there's a doorbell.
You have to answer that, Jake.
There's a doorbell.
No, it's all right. There's other people in.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
We've just gone to a FB ref, Jake, and on DePaul, and he's got similar stats to what was the guy named Tom Goncalves or whatever?
Oh, Gonçalves, yeah.
Yeah, he's got
same
similar
sort
stats
of players.
to me. Yeah.
If is Goncalves, he's a lot younger, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he is.
23, 24? 40.
Yeah. DePaul's 26, so you're getting someone of a similar age, Yeah. But I think he would, for any team that plays 4-3-3, if you need that sort of balanced midfielder, he looks pretty solid.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think for Liverpool, like we said, is an odd team because they're, like when they say, a team's jumped the shark or gone over the edge of the cliff, like there'll be a point where Liverpool hit that with the age profile of their team. Yeah, but when that is, I'm not sure. Because again, the front 3 are like 28, 29. Van Dijk's 28, 29 in he as well.
Henderson's 30.
Henderson's 30. I don't think he's that old.
28. Wait,
I think he's younger than that.
Yeah, I think he is actually. Fabinho age, he's 27. No, I was right.
Oh, is he?
Oh,
Jesus.
bloody hell.
Oh, right.
What about Andy Robertson?
27.
I'm sure he's younger than that, isn't he? He's 26. Okay, but
fine. They are getting on a bit.
And obviously Trent will be there for 10 years, won't he? I don't think he's leaving at any point.
He's shit anyway. Is he? He's shit. He's shite.
Get off, you United fans. I love Trent. Get off, Trent.
This will definitely sound like United bias, but it
absolutely does.
It just isn't. He doesn't get on the plane for the Euros this year.
You're shocking, you are. Again, that's another debate to be had. But
this is not bias. I just don't rate him.
I just, with Liverpool, I think they need to be very careful with how they future-proof. Or again, it could be a United situation where you're then in a wilderness for 10 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you don't want to be there, trust me.
And I will piss myself.
Right, that's Liverpool sorted. We'll move on to a team that probably doesn't need a lot, but Manchester City. Right, Manchester City. I think the hardest team to pick 3 in, 3 out for because they're walking away with the league at the minute.
Yep.
Yeah, who wants to go first for City?
I'll go first. Oh, who's going first?
I'll go first. Well, don't worry.
All right, mate.
So I'll get straight in. Left back. They need a new left back. They're playing Cancelo there, and he's doing really well, but he's right-footed, and I think he needs to be their right-back going forward, especially with Walker getting on a bit. And I know they've got Mendy, but he's just too injury-prone, and whenever he plays, he always makes a mistake. He's not what they thought he would be. And I know they've got Angelino, coming back from loan, and he's done brilliantly for Leipzig. But he was awful with them before he went out to Leipzig, and I just think he suits that system as the wing back that Leipzig playing with the back three behind him. I don't think he'll be the player that City want. So they need a left back, and I'm going to get rid of one of the left backs. So the first one is Mendy. He's going to go. And I have also the other one is Angelino. So both Mendy and Angelino are going. They're two of my three. As I said, neither of them are just worthy. I don't even think they're good backups. And the third one is Aguero. He's barely played this season. He gets injured more and more each season. They can still get some good money for him, and I think they need to be more forward-thinking. They need to bring in a striker that they can rely on, and because that's what they've missed this season. They don't really have a goal-scoring number 9. Jesus hasn't been what they wanted. He's still a good little player, but he can't lead the line like they expected. So I think it's time for Aguero to go.
So do you want just one note on Aguero? Curran runs out in the summer.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, he's a free agent at the minute.
Man.
Just
get him gone then.
Yeah.
So
It's annoyingly minor order saying, but I just got Eric Garcia, but he's pretty much confirmed today that he's leaving to Barca.
Yeah, he's going anyway.
Yeah, my controversial one was Aguero, but Tom's already said it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you could say Jesus and have Aguero. I don't think Aguero will be fit enough to be a backup, even that.
That's fair enough.
I know that's what I mean. Maybe sell Jesus and keep Aguero as the backup.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It's just going to be an expensive backup. Yeah.
Cool. Well, they're all expensive, aren't they?
Yeah.
I want to continue to say the reason why I've gone with both Mendy and Angela to leave is because I know they've got Ake and Laporte who can both play left back. So with the left back I'm bringing in, they will still have good cover in that position.
Yeah. And Angelino's already got. I think Leipzig could just go for him.
So they've got
He's all
Zinchenko
right.
as well. So they definitely need to get rid of two left backs. For me, it's Angelino and Mendy.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
Yeah. Mendy used to go. He's like a mascot, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you want me to come in with my 3 players to leave?
Yeah,
I reckon they're quite similar, though.
Well, I'm getting rid of the granddad of the team, even though he's class. I'm getting rid of Fernandinho for age profile.
Wow.
Really? I thought about him.
It's just because Rodri's going to play there for the next 7 years, and they've sorted out the centre-back problem with 3 centre-backs. So
yeah.
I think he's the 4th highest paid player at City on 150 grand a week. So again, I don't think they need him now, and someone will have him because of how good he is still at the age he's at. But I think a replacement holding midfielder or a backup to Rodri is what they need there. I've got Benjamin Mendy as well. Just never took off for him. Just injuries have killed his career pretty much from Monaco to City. Seems like a waste of wages.
To the Farmers League.
Yeah,
Pop Benjamin.
When he first came in, he was incredible.
Yeah, he was a fantasy football god at one point. His assists were nuts. But yeah, I think at one point didn't he have more trophies than games played? So yeah. But Mendy's another one for me. Fernandinho, and then. Again, we've talked about the Aguero situation. His age and the money that he'll want, I think, is another one you have to let go, sadly. And then, I imagine you've both got a replacement. I've got a replacement for Aguero, but I think...
Does anyone answer, Jake? None of these silly prospects you're looking at, does anyone answer?
I've got someone different to be fair.
I'm not.
I've got someone different.
I'm not signing Leo Messi as you are, Tom. But... that's fair enough. I've got another couple of Argentinians in mind, but yeah.
So
you know exactly who they are.
So
yeah, exactly. But
right. Lautaro Martinez is fine, but not Icardi. So
no, not Icardi, mate. No.
Icardi,
not Icardi, mate. He's well past it.
Good.
Well, let's just go straight on to the attackers, lads. Or no, who we're bringing in.
Right. Well, I'll start it off. The front three, the people I'm bringing in. So obviously I said I'm bringing the left back, and that's going to be Theo Hernandez. I know Will talked about him the other day.
Yeah. I've got him down. He's incredible.
A world class modern day fullback, and I think
I've got his stats up here, and it's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous.
Yeah, he's so quick. He bombs forward, and City he'd be brilliant at City. He's like the French Jordi Alba. Pep would love him. So he's the first one.
I don't. Just to say, I don't really understand Real Madrid sold him. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So same with
Hakimi.
Yeah, Hakimi.
Yeah, they could have had their fullbacks for the next 10 years, and they've let them both go. Mate, who knows? Madness.
But anyway, yeah. So him. The other one, Haaland, of course. I was thinking Messi, but I don't know.
Age.
Yeah,
Messi for the false
exactly.
nine.
It'd be cool, but if City can get Haaland, then that's their striker sorted for a while.
Yeah.
So Haaland, and then the last one, an interesting one. I think they've got enough depth on the wing, in midfield, fullback, even striker when they bring in Haaland, and they've got Jesus, of course. So for me, they needed another backup centre back. They've brought a load of centre backs in, but they still need a backup. I think, as I said, I think every team needs 5 centre backs, and right now they've got Diaz and Stones to start, Laporte on the bench, and then it's just Ake really, with Eric Garcia leaving. So the fifth, and this would be like a reserve bench rotation centre back, is David Carmo from Braga. He is I'd say he's young. He's about 22, 23. Portuguese centre back, left footed. He's very athletic. He's huge. I know he's he's regarded well from the big European teams. I think someone will get him soon, and I think he's more than capable of being a rotation player for City. I think he's very good on the ball as well, from what I've seen in his stats. I don't have them up with me, but I think he'd be a very good cheap option to improve their depth and keep them ahead of everyone else. So they're my 3.
I like it.
Okay.
Tom going to the Farmers Leagues there for a young option.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Well, notice he doesn't make the team.
Yeah, I mean, so if Tom's already said my Aguero replacement. I think Lautaro Martinez is a great fit purely on nationality, height. I don't know, aggression, just everything you want from a centre forward. Go on.
I was going to say, Inter Milan, they've got issues with their money at the moment, so they're going to need to sell some big players. They are. So
I know. Their owners have obviously they're going to be folding their Chinese club that they own, aren't they?
They're 146 million in debt. 146 million in debt. Apparently,
that's the other issue, isn't it? Is that the same owners, they own a Chinese club that have just won the league and they want to fold them now, don't they?
Yeah.
So if they are willing to, and I know Martinez has played in a pair with Lukaku for the last couple of years, but I think
fine.
In Pep's team, he's gonna. I think it'll work. Is he 24 as well still? So
would he be as good as Haaland?
Oh, obviously not. He's not. But then it depends because.
But City are smart.
I mean, I know that Pep had. I know that Pep had. He had Lewandowski, and he's as a bigger striker, more of a focal point striker. But if he's still looking for, at times City have played without a striker. So if he wants someone a little bit more,
I don't think he will go City. I don't think Haaland.
No, do I.
But I think Martinez would be a great fit.
In judgment on City's behalf.
And the best thing about when you're picking players to Man City is it's just like FIFA because your budget is pretty much unlimited and you can kind of pick who you want. So left back I've obviously addressed as well. And to be fair, if they really wanted to go and buy someone like Alphonso Davies, I think they could prize him away from Bayern Munich easy. Yeah. They've got enough money. Really? I wouldn't want to spend £100 million on a left back, so I wouldn't buy him. You've already said Theo Hernandez. He's who I pick as well. He's unfair at left back. I think he'd be a great pick as well in that team. As a footballing fullback, he'll get forward, support Sterling, whoever's in midfield. Yeah, he'll be absolutely perfect on the left there.
Yeah.
And then, so as I've sold Fernandinho now, and I need another holding midfielder. Same
here, I think.
Depending on the fee you can get, because City do actually rotate fairly well because of the competitions they play in. I'm not adverse to bringing in Conrad Lima here as well as a holding midfielder because he can then also fill in at fullback, and Pep likes an inverted fullback, and I think he could do that job as well. So He'd be probably the less flashy signing out of all the three. But I mean, God, if they let Fernandinho, Mendy, and Aguero go and signed Martinez, Hernandez, and Lima, I mean, Jesus, it
would be silliness, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if
they got Haaland, I'd probably stop watching football.
I don't know if either of you watched the NBA, but there was a time when the Golden State Warriors signed a player called Kevin Durant, who's one of the best players in the NBA, and they had essentially 4 to 5 superstars in their whole, in one team, and that's kind of what it would feel like. I turned off watching for a year because of that team, but yeah, I get your point with Haaland.
All mine is the same as yours, really. I couldn't really think of a replacement for Fernandinho. But I think Lima, I don't know whether Lima's good enough on the ball to be, because obviously they had the ball so much, don't they?
Yeah.
You two have watched him more.
I've seen his stats.
I mean,
I have watched him as well.
There's probably some young Portuguese, Spanish centre midfielder that we've not heard of that they'll have their eye on and bring in who look class. I mean, even though I don't think he's immense. I think even someone Pep can do a job with someone even like bloody Declan Rice, couldn't he? He'd be able to put him in there and turn him into something. But I just, given his age, he's been playing for Leipzig, week in, week out for the last couple of years. I just think Lima, and he's so versatile as well. As you said, he played in 3 or 4 different positions. So for whatever he'd be, 25, 30 million, there's nothing to City, is it? So
yeah, exactly.
So from that, we must have a striker, a left back, and
hold
just whoever they want.
Yeah, and then if they want to bring in Messi as well, whoever, just anyone they want.
Just do what you want, City. Piss off.
I had Messi down just for in case, but whether he joins or not, I don't know.
See, if they're going to sign Messi, then I look at maybe moving Riyad Mahrez on because he's 29.
Yeah, I agree.
And then because they got Ferran Torres who likes to play out there as well. So, but
if they got Messi, then surely he'd be the number 9.
I don't know how maybe he would.
Surely.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how, but yeah, maybe he plays the number 9. That would be immense again to see him in the Premier League. But
yeah.
We'll wait to see what happens.
City's quite easy, isn't it? City was quite easy.
Yeah,
they don't need strengthening. Doesn't anyone does, they'll be fine.
We talked for 25 minutes plus about the other teams, and we've got to 12 minutes and run out of stuff to talk about for City because they're so good.
Yeah, no.
Right, let's get on to the big boy United. Here we go.
Right, we'll go on to Man United in a second, boys. Cool. So we can move on to the club of both of you, Manchester United. Who wants to kick off? Because I'm sure you've got plenty of players you want out and plenty of players you want in.
I'll go.
Start. Yeah.
Yeah. So to start with outs, I've got Sergio Romero just because he needs to leave for his own career, and his wages are quite high, I believe. Well, like everyone at the club. So no. Next is Phil Jones. I don't really explain, does it? The kid's awful. Can't get a game time. When he does, he performs horrendously. And then there's a lot more people that I'd rather get before this guy that I thought he definitely is leaving, so I just thought I'd put him in there, Paul Pogba.
Oh, okay. So all 3 of yours are different to mine.
Interesting. I'm so confident he's leaving this year, so I just thought I'd put him in.
Is that Pogba, Romero, and Phil Jones?
Yeah, he's just what even Fabrizio said a few weeks ago. He's on a podcast with Rio Ferdinand, and Rio asked, "What's the situation with Pogba?" And he went, "If United offer Pogba a good deal, even if then he won't stay." He basically just said he's looking to move away, and even his agent's been looking the whole season. He's literally just leaving. He is.
To who, Will?
I don't know to who, but he will leave. I'm so confident of it.
Yeah,
I think Real Madrid will go for him. I think Real Madrid. Or Juve, maybe. I don't think Juve can afford it either.
Oh, bloody hell. Well, if Pogba wants to take a step down, then that's his problem. He can do that. Right, well, I'll go with my 3 out. The first man, I can't stand him. Lindelof. Bye, you twat. I just think he's absolutely shocking next to Harry Maguire. And he's not. I don't even want him as the backup. I don't want to ever see him partner Maguire ever again. So he needs to go. Number 2, Andreas Pereira. We've loaned him out quite a lot on this season. He's on loan to Lazio and he's done nothing for them. I don't want him to ever play. I don't want him to ever take up a space ahead of a youth player or someone else that could make a name for themselves. So he needs to go. And the last one,
shit.
Yeah, he's awful. The last one is Juan Mata.
Oh no!
I love him, Will, but he's on high wages. He's starting to offer nothing, and next season will be even worse.
Would have been good last night, wouldn't
he? Yeah, well, potentially. Even though Jones isn't good, he's happy to be a reserve, and right now I think there's other people to get rid of before him. So yeah, Mata, Pereira and Lindelof for me. And Romero as well. Henderson and De Gea aren't both staying next season. I don't see how they do.
I just got a bit up here from Fabrizio said in December, Pogba will 100% leave next summer.
Yeah, but
I don't know, but
if he goes to Juventus, then that's just hilarious. And I don't think Madrid can do it.
I'd love to keep him. I think he's fantastic.
He'll stay.
I think he'll stay.
Really? I don't know where he gets confidence from. But
who's getting him? Genuinely.
I swear his contract runs out next summer.
Yeah, it does.
So maybe I want to cash in now then.
Yeah, but to who? Like, it's just no. But so yeah, they're my 3 out. What about you, Jake?
I mean, I was cumulatively looking at the amount of wages that you're shifting out the books there. So Will ends up shifting about £500,000 a week off the books with those 3 players.
Well, that's majority. Yeah, Pogba takes up a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, Phil Jones is on £75,000 a week, and
there are a lot I want to say, Jake, but I just think Pogba's most likely to.
I mean, I could go through your squad with a rifle and just shoot people. Like, there's a lot of people I could really cut out. Like, I don't know why I mean, I love Nemanja Matic, but he got a 3-year deal till he's 34. Like,
yeah.
He can't, and they're not going to sell him, are they? So I can't really get rid of him, even though I do like him. No. But I like him. Again, age-wise, he's 31, 32 now.
Yeah.
Players I get rid of.
Many.
I've never been a fan of Lindelof or Eric Bailly, but if I'm getting rid of one of them, I'll get rid of Lindelof. Just the Swedish Chris Smalling, really. I've never read Chris Smalling either.
Just Chris Smalling.
I think, again, I know you mentioned Phil Jones, but you need the homegrown player quota. So as a backup for once in a blue moon, he's all right, I suppose.
Reserve.
Yeah,
he is.
If you can argue that he brings experience, maybe, I don't know, but
he's better than
he brings nothing.
Yeah, so I mean, and I see the Juan Mata reason because he's on more money than Bruno Fernandes, so you know,
doesn't really add up, does it?
Yeah,
Bruno's getting a contract soon, though, I think.
But either way, it's dead money with Juan Mata. I think he hardly plays. If he plays, it's a cup game, and I'd rather go and see, you know, I can't remember the name of your youngster now, but you got young players I'd rather see play now. Instead of Mata, so
Hannibal,
any of them, Ahmad, you know, all of them, yeah,
loads.
But those 2 I'd shift out.
There's a lot we can agree on that, can't we?
I mean, and you know, it's great that Jesse Lingard scored 3 goals for West Ham, but he's not coming into Man United's
I want him
team.
to leave. I do. I want Jesse to leave to West Ham.
I'd let him go. That's fine.
Yeah, I'd happily let him go.
I mean, again, you got like Lee Grant there, but he's a homegrown player. That's why he's there.
Diego Dalot, he can go.
Oh yeah, he's out on loan. Yeah,
I hate him.
He's never going to play. That's a Mourinho signing, wouldn't it, as well? So yeah, I think it's easy to cut some players out United squad, but I've got one player that I might let go, but he's part of he's part of a trade deal in my incoming players. So I'll let you know. But yeah, go for your incoming players. Go for it.
First.
I'll kick it off. It's very simple for me. 3 big names that we should be going after. Varane, 50 million. We need to bring in a centre back that's better than Maguire, who's fast. We do. I think you're wrong if you've not got a centre back on your list. So Varane is coming in. He's big. He's fast. World class. Proven. He's a winner. experienced. He can get Maguire for 50 million. So he's the first one. The second one, we haven't had a right winger since fucking, I don't know, Ronaldo. It's been awful. We don't have a creative winger. Mata, he can't cut it anymore. Greenwood isn't creative and he's not a right winger anyway. Dan James, I don't want to go next season with him as our right winger every game, even though I feel at the moment. Jane chose the perfect player for that. I don't want any right winger that is a goal scorer like a Salah. They need to be creative, and Sancho's perfect for that. He's English, and he wants to come to United as well. And I was gutted when we didn't get him in the summer. So
close
I would
last
love
year.
him. I know, and the final signing.
How did we get him last year?
We need. Oh no, it's awful. I lost quite a lot of money on that. Anyway, we need a striker. Cavani, he's not fit every week, and Martial isn't happy being a bench striker. Greenwood's not ready. We need a world-class goal scorer to help us compete with City and Liverpool and people, and that is Haaland again.
Oh, so, 2 Dortmund players, Tom.
3. Yeah,
2 Borussia players.
Why does that matter? Makes it even easier.
So
actually,
it does.
They're both going. No, but people say, "Oh, you can't have 2 people from the same club," but they're both going anyway. It's not like they're going to keep one of them. They're both going, so we can get both of them. Sancho and Varane.
I've also got Sancho, for obvious reasons. I knew that you went Haaland, so I've gone for a defensive midfielder instead.
Okay.
I've got 3 there that we could go for. I've got Rice, NDD, or 4 actually. Rice, NDD, Lima, and Sal Niguez.
Okay.
I mean, I'd have any of them, but I'd put Rice at the bottom of the 4.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting.
And then I'd have any of the other 3. I'd bite your hand off, I think, if I was Man United.
Yeah, and then centre half, I've got down Varane, Koulibaly.
Varane, Koulibaly, and who?
Skriniar.
Oh yeah.
Milan
Skriniar.
No. I rate Skriniar a lot, and I mention him later, but not next to Maguire.
His passing progression is so good at this, and his pass accuracy.
I don't care. I don't think he complements Maguire at all.
He's another player that's been playing in a back 3 for the last 2 or 3 years as well. Like, you know, and I know that players can play in multiple systems, but he has played in a back 3 for a while, and you know
that was a for Milan's issues financially. I thought we could probably get him.
Yeah,
but obviously Varane's first, second after what Tom said about Napoli as well. I don't know if you heard that, Jake.
Yeah,
they're in, and in defensive midfield, I wouldn't. I think most likely it's probably Rice, but I don't know whether he'd cut it because the way we play, he's going to have to cover the wings and the outside areas so much. I don't know whether he's used to that at West Ham or not. For me,
yeah, but he's 22. He's a captain, and I think he'd be a great buy for the future.
Yeah, I mean he's been playing in a pair anyway, hasn't he, with Souček? So he'll probably be fine in your system.
Yeah.
Imagine him next to Pogba. Pogba just go do what he wants. But who you got down, Jake? I reckon you got Sancho down as well, haven't you?
I mean, so yeah. If money's no object, a lot of the time, like it isn't with Man United, then you know you just buy him, don't you? I don't. Again, I don't understand why you didn't buy him last year, but
it's embarrassing, mate. It's embarrassing.
He's one option, but if we're going to go with Tom's thinking of going to the Championship before we go to any other league, then I don't mind a little gamble on Emi Buendia from Norwich as a right midfielder.
Oh no, Jake! No.
Don't laugh. He scores goals and creates goals, mate. He's a fantastic footballer.
Jake, I'm telling you now, if we were going into next season with Buendia starting for us, I'd probably take a break.
Once again, I'll accuse you of being a bit of a snob when it comes to football as a United fan. Don't diss Emi Buendia, mate. I think he'd be fantastic.
I had him down for Arsenal. Don't remember. I do rate him.
Yeah, just the fact with Arsenal, it was just they had so many right midfielders. That was all.
If you compare him to Jadon Sancho,
there would be genuine riots if we were linked to Sancho and then decided to get Buendia. I don't think you realise what would happen. But I don't even know what would happen. It'd be awful.
Anyway, the point is that you're probably going to buy Sancho, aren't you? But hey, why not chuck Messi £500,000 a week and stick him on the right? Happy days.
I'd rather have Sancho. Sancho would be there for 10 years. He would.
Will Sancho be the better buy? But we'd be able to say we've had Messi and Ronaldo.
How would you feel if you bought Rafinha from Leeds?
Pissed off, but it could be all right.
No.
Just throwing him in there because you mentioned him earlier.
No.
I literally just want.
There's levels to this, Jake. You've got Leicester, and then there's us.
Don't know. I think you're so tunnel vision on Sancho. I don't think you'll consider anyone else.
Yeah, because we need a creative player on that side. Because Rashford's a greedy bastard, and then on that side we need. Well, that's not true. We need creative on the right side.
I mean, you're so tunnel vision that you just turned down Lionel Messi for Sancho. So I don't think I can throw any other names in there that will convince you. So it looks like we're signing Jadon Sancho.
You can't, Jake.
Yeah.
These are the kind of things I've been discussing with Will the last couple of seasons. If we don't get Sancho, it's farcical.
I mean, if we're going to look at the other,
so long.
If we're going to look at the other positions, I think Will's throwing most of the names in there that I would sign. I mean, in an ideal world, if he didn't get injured so much, Wilfred Ndidi just mops everything up. I think he'd be incredible.
I'd love Ndidi.
Alongside that would really freak Pogba up because he does the work of two players.
Yeah. I remember Rodgers last season that Ndidi doesn't like playing there too. He just likes being by himself in the
happy days. Let Pogba and Fernandes just run riot in attack.
And then you got Sancho, Rashford, Haaland. Oh, we're winning the treble.
Yeah, we are.
Exactly. If you got £250 million in your back pocket, it's easy, isn't it?
And we do, Jake.
Exactly.
But they won't spend it. Oh,
and we worked out how to offset a lot of the wages. So why not?
Yeah. A lot of deadwood in the.
Exactly, loads of deadwood.
Ollie's cleared out a lot of deadwood, but there's still a lot more to go.
Yeah. Honestly, there is literally half a million a week in wages you could just cut. It's mad.
Fucking awful.
Again, we talk about teams with a lot of fat. Well, De Gea is in one of my deals that I could get rid of him.
Ooh.
I'd love to hear this.
So this is my audacious attempts to buy Erling Haaland.
Ooh, actually,
because Dortmund need a goalkeeper. They don't like Berkey. He's not cutting it. You've got two goalkeepers, and De Gea is better than Dean Henderson at the minute for sure. But
can you tell me how that deal would work though?
Yeah. You may you may have to. It may even be part of, if you want both Haaland and Sancho, part of one big deal, right, involving cash, De Gea, and those two players. But
how do we give him De Gea?
It's really hard because he's on about 375 grand a week, isn't he?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
They would not pay him any more than 170 grand a week.
So exactly. And it depends really what you want from it, because if you're going to keep him and you're going to not play Henderson, then you're paying Henderson, or you're going to loan him out and still pay him anyway. So you can either work out some sort of deal with De Gea, and you may have to subsidise the wages. Unfortunately, is what it is.
Word.
But either way, you're not going to be paying him 375 grand a week. You might be paying out 200 grand a week because you've managed to shift half his wages out. Either way, you get Haaland out of it. You've got Dean Henderson. So as a net gain of class, you look better, I think.
Oh, which twat gave him a 5-year deal on almost 400 grand a week?
He is the highest paid player in the Premier League. It's absolutely.
He wasn't
madness.
even in good form at that point, really, was he? He wasn't like he wasn't. He wasn't his world-class self when we gave him that contract.
It makes him impossible to sell. It really does. But this is the only way I can get around it, is by some sort of subsidised deal where you're helping Dortmund out, but you're getting one of their two superstars, essentially.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only way I can see around it.
Do you think De Gea saves that last night, Tom? What Dino saved? Do you think De Gea saves that? Do you not?
No, he doesn't run out.
I've always been amazed of how David De Gea is so weak at the thigh area, either side of where his hands are, just below that area. He can never get down to it.
He never comes off his line. And Henderson's so more aggressive.
I mean, he was he Player of the Year 4 years in a row for you. That's fair enough, because under Van Gaal and Jose, it was a bit poor, wasn't it? But
this is the point though. It was incredible, but recently, last season, he made quite a few mistakes as well. So especially under Ole, he made mistakes, hasn't he?
It's not like you're getting rid of De Gea and you're putting, I don't know, Kepa in goal. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're getting rid of De Gea, but you got your next goalkeeper already.
We'll find out about Dino in these next 6 games. De Gea's not playing for the next 6 games or so, apparently, because his wife's having a baby.
Preggers.
Right.
Preggers.
And I know this deal will never ever happen, but it feels like a way that benefits Dortmund and benefits you.
Mind it.
Yeah. So who are your 3 players to bring in? Sancho, Haaland, and
who, me?
What? Yeah.
I mean, let's see. I'd like to see Ndidi or Lima come in. They're fairly interchangeable, but Ndidi's better, and he's playing in the Premier League.
Would be so much money though.
And Ndidi, he will. He'll be a £80 million player.
Yeah, he'd be a lot, wouldn't he? So would Rice, though, wouldn't he? To the English.
Exactly. It's going to be expensive, but I mean, if you bring, I think a bit like City, if they bring Hernandez, I don't know, Lima, and who do we say, Martinez in, and you bring in Sancho, Haaland, and Ndidi. You then, does Ndidi make up for the lack of centre half? Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like,
I would rather sign a centre half than a DM. I would.
What, and still play McTominay and Pogba, or?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. You need 4 players. There, you need 4.
Yeah, 4.
4 big players.
And annoyingly, both of them are at Dortmund. 2 of them are at Dortmund.
And that's what I mean. Like the only way I can see, but even then, I don't think it would be cheaper. I've mentioned Dominic Calvert-Lewin to you before as another big striker, but he's just going to be expensive as well, isn't he? Like Haaland is. Yeah. So because Everton they'll want Lukaku money, like what you sold Lukaku for. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough for United.
It's a lot of money, isn't it? It's a lot of money to get your team into the right position.
We need 4 starters, and then 4 starters are going to cost 80 million each, minimum.
Literally.
Minimum.
No, they won't. Varane's 50 million.
Oh, yeah, apart from Varane.
Yeah, maybe.
And then you can get... I mean, if you've got decent scouts, you could find an Ndidi equivalent for 30 mil.
Conrad Lima, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's like Leicester got Kante for like $1 million. Or less than that, so...
Yeah, but if I'd have come to you, Tom, as my head of recruitment and said, I found this lad in Liga, you'd have gone, what, the Farmers League? Yeah. Throw him out. So, there will be players like that, obviously, but Man United aren't great at finding those hidden gems. They rather let Leicester find them and then pay them £80 million.
We are. We then don't have the people to agree on them. We have a single director of football. We've got bankers running the club. Ed Woodward, a former banker, makes the decisions on who we sign. The amount of people our scouts come back with and we turn away, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if
we have the biggest scouting network, don't we? We've
got the biggest scouting network in the world.
It almost feels like you'll be linked with Sancho, and then Leon Bailey will turn up.
Oh no! Stop! I don't care how good the player ends up. Like the player could be. If we don't get Sancho, I'll just be pissed off.
Mm. Well, who else could be a creative player? You were saying Grealish, weren't we?
Adama Traore, I'd like.
Really?
Oh God!
Yeah.
Jesus, Tom. No. 0 goals and assists this year.
You laughed at Emi Buendia. Jesus, man.
Buendia. Oh, fuck's sake.
He's probably more creative than Adama.
He's so underrated. Criminal.
Shut up.
Adama, Jesus Christ.
Buendia.
Mate, he's a great footballer.
I can't believe you said Adama, Tom. Jesus.
Yeah.
But anyway, as we've decided, you can't fix Man United in 3 picks. You need 4. So
yeah,
it's a lot needed. It's weird, isn't it? You're second, but you need a lot.
If Marshall sorts himself out, then we could be all right with 3.
Yeah, striker's the last priority.
Marshall has to sort himself
do
out.
A job.
We got 3 potentially good strikers.
Yeah, you've not seen Greenwood have a run of games up front, like purely as a 9.
He's not good enough yet for up front.
Against Chelsea, he was all right. Apart from that, he hasn't really had much chances. Really, I can think of.
God, can you imagine if your big signing is Tammy Abraham?
Oh, no.
You love buying Chelsea players, so you know.
I'd get Kante. I'd have Kante.
That honestly, that I could see that happening, given his age.
It wouldn't be too much. He'd be a budget option for a couple of seasons.
Kante and Pogba.
Yeah. Oh, class. Well, I'm happy to move on to Spurs.
Yeah, United's a weird one, isn't it? Because you just need so much. Right. We'll see what we've got there. Even Tottenham, I think, are going to need a lot, but we'll see what we've got. All right. Cool. Right, the seventh and final team today, Tottenham Hotspur. Who wants to kick off? 3 players to leave.
Jake, you do, mate.
Yeah, you go, Jake.
Yeah, go on, Jake.
Right, I'm gonna bang him out. Right, Eric Lamela, he's gone. I'm chipping him out straight away. I don't know. When he was at Roma, I thought, he looks really good. And then he was part of all that Bale money. I think he's the last remaining player signed with the Bale money. Soldado and Paulinho.
They really messed that up, didn't they?
And I just Eric Lamela. I don't know what he's okay. He works hard at times, and he's a bit flashy and whatever. But
scored a Rabona. That was a lovely goal.
Did score a Rabona about 4 years ago, so maybe that keeps him on for a new deal for £80,000 a week. Who knows?
He does work hard. But no, he's not good enough.
I think again, he's another player who had a big injury and lost a yard of pace, and then suddenly it takes away from his game. It's sad for him, but
he's basically Juan Mata at this point.
I'm letting him go.
He's quite skillful.
Yeah, he is. 5-star skills on FIFA. What more do you want? But so I'm also gonna. I mean, I understand it slightly because of the age of Lloris. I don't get why they signed Joe Hart, to be honest. He's played like 3 Europa League games, I think, and a cup game maybe. He hasn't played all the easy games either. He hasn't.
He
No,
played Lloris some of them.
I mean, he's not going to succeed, Lloris, is he? As Tottenham's next keeper. So for $50,000 a week, I know he's only been there less than a year, but I think it's pretty pointless, to be honest.
Yeah.
So he's another one. I'm gonna trim him straight away. He's gone.
Fair enough.
And then another new signing that looked cool at Wolves, but they're playing Serge Aurier over him and it's a bit of a waste. Yeah. But Matt Doherty, I don't know why he left. I know, obviously why he left for more money. For more money, obviously. But
a better team.
He's an Arsenal fan, isn't
he? Mate, I don't even know. But they signed him. He played like 3 games for Jose, and then Jose went, I'm going to play Aurier again now. That's it.
I was looking at the squad and I was looking at Doherty thinking, probably would get rid of him. But then I thought, well, 15 million. He's not a bad backup to.
That's what I mean. It's the thing of
he could get better.
As a squad player, quality, but I don't know. Again, it's that argument. He played in a back 5 as an attacking defender, and he comes to Jose's team where the fullbacks still get forward a little bit, but he's a lot more defensive than Nuno is, and it's another $80,000 a week wasted.
Odd one.
Yeah, so those are my 3. I'm just saving money there because you know what Levy's like. Squeeze every penny he can out, and he signs Joe Hart. So I don't know.
Well, I agree with those.
Yeah, I had 2 of the same, but I also had Dele Alli down.
No, yeah.
Just because I feel like Jose doesn't like him. Apparently he had a chat with Mourinho the last few weeks about clearing the air or something, so he might get more game time now. But I just don't see him staying. He was close to PSG. Poch.
Yeah, I also
don't see a future with him there.
I wrote him down originally, and then I don't know. Is it going to be like one of them weird Jose things where he's out for 2 years and then he comes back and plays, and suddenly he's Paul Gascoigne again? But I don't think so. But I struggle with that. It's hard with Ali because again, you look at him and you think actually he could be decent for them, not as a squad player, but even as a first team player. But it's just the last 2 years, he's just like at 20, he seemed to have hit his peak, and then he's just come down from there. It's really weird. Yeah,
I know.
I don't think he doesn't. Well, obviously he doesn't. He's not even going to go to the Euros in the summer. So you know.
No. Yeah, I had Joe Hart down as well on mine. Yeah. He's just not very good, is he? Same as you, Jake. You got Tom.
I didn't really think about Joe Hart. I just saw him and thought, okay, well, he's the backup keeper. No need to get rid of him. But I suppose you two make good arguments. It is a bit weird. He's quite an expensive backup, but I didn't think about Hart, so I've gone with Lamela.
Yeah.
Two.
Right, down as well.
And then the other two are both centre backs that are not good enough.
One of them, Eric Dyer.
No.
What? Oh, Tom. Thomas, I hate Eric Dyer so much.
Why didn't you get rid of him then?
Because those three saved me, saved me money before. At least Eric Dyer kicks a ball. Do you know what I mean? Like the other three don't really at all.
Well,
you know?
If I'm the director and I say to Jose, well, this is your team next year, Eric Dyer would not be in the plans to start. He's not going to start.
Bloody hope not.
But Jose loves him, doesn't he? He loves him.
Yeah, no, but rightly so. He works hard and he can play multiple positions and he can do a job if there's an injury. There's times where he can have a world-class game. There's other times where he can make a mistake. And he's getting more experienced, so I'm happy to have him as the backup right now. And then maybe another summer you can get rid of him if he's still a bit...
I don't think I'd even have him cleaning the team's boots at alone backup, but whatever. Yeah.
Right, well, anyway,
what's his vendetta against him, Jake? Where's this come from?
Yeah.
I just watch him and he just makes me sad. You know, I watch him and I feel sad, and then when I watch him play for England, I feel even more sad. So
if he plays at the Euros, then bloody hell.
Man,
you know how I feel about Bellerin. I watch Bellerin. I think all of us could have made it.
I know, yeah, because me and Will are right back, so it is depressing when you see someone like Bellerin.
I mean, my hatred for him / dislike is probably quite unreasonable, but I'm sticking with it. So you know,
yeah. Okay, well, my other two, so the centre backs are Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah.
Who he just factually is not good enough for the Premier League. He falls asleep so often. He can't concentrate for the full 90, so he needs to leave. And you might think good enough for a backup, but two of the people I'm bringing in are two good centre backs, and which would mean they've already got good backups. They've got Joe Rodon, Tanganga, Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, and this other guy are not needed if I'm bringing in two centre backs. So Sanchez is the first, and the other one is Alderweireld. He's been a good servant for them, but just like Vertonghen, it's his time to leave. Getting old, he can't start for them, I don't think, next season. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, for me, if Mourinho wants to be successful at Tottenham with the way he plays, then he needs to have a world-class back line. So, with that in mind, I'm bringing in two great centre-backs in Tottenham's budget. So, I'm shifting out two centre-backs as well.
I like it.
This is the tough thing looking at Tottenham is that I'd say three of their back four aren't good enough for where they want to be, and then
regular one's good.
No, yes, he's the one I'm not including in the not good enough. He's fine.
Yeah, I rate him.
It's Aurier, Sanchez, and Alderweireld, isn't it? You know that you're looking at replacing, and then really that there aren't any. Well, there aren't many good affordable backs and centre halves to put you in the top four. You know, you're looking at big money, and Tottenham don't really spend big money, which maybe is your argument. If they can get, I don't know, 50, 40, whatever. I don't even know what Dele Alli would be worth if they sold him, but if you want to fund a centre half pairing, it's hard, isn't it? Like Alderweireld and Vertonghen were so good for so long. Yeah, it's a hard thing to replace, and hopefully you got some good picks, because I can go through like most of the centre halves that we've mentioned through all of this. Like, if you want to rebuild, I'm happy to put.
I'm not going to be silly.
No,
I mean I could easily say Varane and Koulibaly or whatever, but Spurs, I know they won't spend like that. So I may as well tell you the ins.
Go on then.
So the two, well, before I say the centre backs, the other one is a right winger. I'm getting rid of Lamela, and I don't rate Lucas Bergwijn at the moment for their right wing spot. I know Bale's only on loan, so I don't know whether they're going to think about bringing him permanently. But they need a good right winger, so I thought of Rafinha again from Leeds.
Yeah,
he's affordable, could be great, could be awful, I don't know. But I think if you want an affordable right winger to come in with a good, there's not really many better than him. He's looking like he's Prem proven.
I think. Sorry, Tom. I think you mispronounced his name there. It's Emi Buendia. I'm sorry, mate. That was all. Yeah.
Is Buendia quick at all? Because I just have the impression that he's just some slow right midfielder that just wouldn't really cut it at a big team. I don't know if I've just got that massively wrong.
Yeah, I think you have, mate. Honestly, he's not. He's not Eric Dyer in terms of pace.
No, I know he's not Eric Dyer, but like he doesn't really strike me as the typical winger.
Quite skillful.
He looked. I quite liked him at Norwich last season, but he didn't strike me like a quick player that could get a goal. He's quite creative.
The thing is, though, you don't unless you're playing three at the back with wing backs, you tend to see less and less super pacey wingers that go past people and run. Do you know what I mean? You're looking for technical, creative, wide players. I know Tottenham have got a lot of pacey wingers with Bergwijn and Lucas and whatever. If they want something a little bit different, people like Buendia, people like Grealish and that. I'm not putting Grealish there, obviously, but people that aren't reliant on pace. And obviously, Spurs 2 years ago could have bought Grealish for, was it £25 million, and they turned him down? I mean, Jesus Christ.
That's like, I can't believe you reminded me of that. That's hilarious. Cause I remember when they were being linked to him, I was laughing, thinking, I hope they get him because he's awful. I thought he was awful before he came to the Premier League.
Yeah, me too. I did as well.
Forgot that they turned him down.
But honestly, for 25, I think it's because Villa were holding out for 30, and Levy was like, that's too much now. Can you imagine, honestly? But
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But even if it's not Rafinha, as I said earlier, I think Traore would be brilliant for them, especially for Mourinho, because he'd get up and down the pitch, tracking back to defend, and then getting forward. Like Kane dropping deep to play in Son, Adama would be brilliant at getting in behind as well for that. But I don't know. As you said, he's not really had the end product this season. So I was looking at more Rafinha, who's on form.
Yeah, and Rafinha creates a lot as well.
Exactly.
His stats-wise, he looks really good as well. Yeah.
So, and then the two centre-backs are Skriniar, who I know I don't want at United because I don't think he compliment Maguire, but I think he'd be brilliant at Tottenham.
He feels like a Jose player, doesn't he? He feels like a big hard Jose signing. Yeah,
I got him down on mine.
And he'd be very affordable. And the other one is Patrick Schürrle for Ajax.
Oh yeah.
I really like him.
And Tottenham have bought a lot of Ajax players, haven't they? So I imagine Levy's got a little bit of an in there.
Yeah, exactly. I really like it. He's big, solid, fast. Can read the game well from when I've watched him, and he's good on the ball. I think he could be very good. And obviously, if he's not ready just yet, because I know he's young, they've still got Eric Dyer and people that could come in next to Skriniar. I just think that's the most important area for Jose to do well next season.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I've also got Skriniar down. Yeah. I also put down Spitzer because I've seen a lot of links of him last few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been loads about him going to there.
Quite a lot.
And I think Sabitzer next to Højbjerg and then put Ndembele in that number 10 position.
Oh, that'd be great, sir. I really do like Sabitzer.
Yeah, there's been loads of links to him, to Spurs.
Really? Not really seen
a lot. And then I thought maybe a right back they could go for. So I thought maybe Veltman from Ajax or Ricardo Pereira from Leicester. And then James Justin could be the main starter.
Wait, did you say just James Justin?
No, I meant Ricardo Pereira to Spurs and James Justin could be the starter for Leicester.
Oh right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I can see that. Because I think they do need a right back, but Ori has been a lot better this season. And I just thought...
He's a bit clumsy, though, isn't he?
They need an attacker, and they really do need a good centre-back pairing. I just don't rate any of the backs at the moment.
No, me neither.
I'm not sure how.
Right back.
I haven't watched Veltman, but Veltman's stats are very good for this season. But from Ajax.
Sorry, before we move on to Jake's three, I just want to mention another centre-back, another Dutch centre-back, Botman. I think.
Sven Botman from Lille. Yeah.
Yeah. Because as you said, Lille are top of the league. He's a young Dutch big centre back who I'm sure is going to go to a big team.
Yeah.
And again, I think he'll be very affordable, and I think he could be good for Spurs and Jose too.
Yeah, I like the Botman shout if they can muster up the money for him as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of centre halves we've thrown around today, and if Tottenham could pick out maybe any of the sort of 10 we've mentioned, two of them, I think they need to go big. I think there because. Now Alderweireld could be going. It's such a big area.
I just remembered that that Veltman joined Brighton, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
So get him from there. Brighton losing everyone.
Yeah, we're selling all of Brighton's players this season, aren't we?
Or get that Turkish lad Jake talked about earlier.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so there's your right back and your centre half, both from Lille.
Yeah.
They've got chemistry.
Yeah.
That's sorted.
Get Bamber as well.
Yeah, mate. There you go. You've rebuilt most of Spurs' team with Lille's team sorted. I can make the argument for the same right back for going into that team if they're going to replace Doherty or Aurier, but I don't think they will because they've committed to Doherty, and I don't know if they'll sell Aurier. Maybe they could flog him somewhere. But I actually had Sven Botman down as well.
Oh really?
Yeah, I really like Botman. He is decent. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my double deal. I like both those Lille players. I think they're solid.
Yeah,
I think they're Levy signings as well. But
yeah.
the thing with Botman is I've heard him mentioned a lot on different news outlets and things like that. I'm assuming he's going to go for a lot of money when he does leave.
I don't know if it will be a lot. The French. I just don't think any French club are in any position to hold out for big money.
But even if it's not the fee, it's the wages of other clubs that could buy him. Is where Spurs can't compete. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. If other big clubs want him, no doubt he'll go to Spurs.
Yeah, but if they could bring in, I don't know, Botman and Skriniar and Milenkovic or whoever else, they just need 2 5-year players, don't they? At least, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Go on, mate.
So, Who else did you say?
I struggled on Tottenham. I'm always looking for someone to back up Harry Kane, but it's just so hard to find anyone decent that's willing to not play every week.
Yeah.
Vinicius is alright.
Hey?
Vinicius is alright.
Yeah, he's alright. Yeah, he's not bad. The other two players, there's 2 players I really like. I've mentioned them on the Brighton video that I made, Boulaye Dia and Bala and Zola, but you got to look them up as strikers. Boulaye Dia is a proper workhorse striker, but he plays every week in France. So you pay him.
Interesting one for you, lads. Spurs are playing now, and Doherty and Ali are both starting.
Are they?
Oh, really?
It's quite surprising.
Oh ho.
Yeah, so I think the Spurs
I'll put that on when this ends.
Improve the defence, I guess. Spurs.
Yeah, but they still. I know they got Kane and Son, and then they always put one other in there. But even down there, up there.
Here we go. I mean, Davinson Sanchez and Alvaro are both starting today, and I want to get rid of them both. So
I don't think they're going to get rid of Sanchez just because of how old he is. I don't think they're going to sell him.
Yeah,
he'll play.
Sanchez He's not old, is he?
That's what I'm saying. They won't get rid of him because he's not old.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying.
No, not because he's too old. That's what I just think. I just think he'll just stay there for however long. It's like Anthony Martial at Man United. I don't see anybody buying him, so he's just going to stay there.
Oh,
there you go.
Do you know what I mean?
I think every club in the world should be after Martial.
Oh, I love him. I think he's great, but I don't think anyone will buy him.
Why?
I don't know. It's one of those things where he's going to be too expensive to buy for not a lot of output in the last 3 years.
Yeah, but it's one of those risks where you've got to be like, well, I know he's not done well this season, but you've got to put that down to context. I mean, I think he'd be so good to like Barcelona or I don't know, even Bayern Munich. I think he'd be good anywhere. Even Man City would be lucky to have him.
I was about to say, you're going to put him in a Farmers League, are you then? Yeah, nice one.
Well yeah, I would. That's where he'd flourish. In a league where he's got more time to do what he wants with the ball.
Yeah.
He's the only player that can, in our squad, that can actually take a touch and make the right pass. He can link the play so well, like Donny van der Beek. He'd fit in the City perfectly. Do
you know what I would actually realistically see happening? Is that at the point where PSG say they could buy him replacement. And that would make sense.
Yeah, definitely. He could go
and you'd make some sort of money out of that deal, and then whoever else you buy to replace him. But I think that's maybe the only way he leaves.
Downgrade, Jesus.
Yeah.
But Woody Moise Keane scored like 15 goals in League One.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah. So, and now Everton are thinking, should we bring him back? Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Don't see it myself.
No, I like Martial.
He's better than Rashford. I'll say that.
Really? Shout from a Man United fan. Bloody hell. I wasn't expecting that.
Better than Rashford.
Not in my opinion.
There's a bombshell to finish on, Tom.
We're stuck with some academy schmuck for the next 10 years, and it really pisses me off.
Who?
Yeah, that schmucky's got one less goal contribution than Mbappe this year.
Hang on, are you not a fan, Tom?
Stat padder. No,
you're not a fan? Really? Oh, I didn't know this. This is new. Bloody hell.
He just annoys me. He annoys me because I know how good he could be, but he's just so poor at the moment. He just doesn't create anything for the striker like I think a winger should. He runs with his head down too much, gets tackled so often. He can't hold his line. He could become world class, but right now he's just pissing me off. Martial would be a much better left winger than him for us right now.
You reckon? What, Haaland up top with Martial on one side, Sancho on the other,
yeah.
Fernandes, Pogba and Didi in behind, you know.
I'd much prefer that.
Well, we can dream.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Alright, I feel like of all the 7 teams we discussed, Tottenham is the most iffy of all of them to help. I think they're the hardest team to find players for. Given their lack of spending and wages that they are willing to pay.
Yeah, it will be a struggle for them.
Even Leicester, I don't feel as down about Leicester signing players because it seems to be they find players in their budget easy. But Tottenham, they really struggle to get decent quality for what they want to pay.
Yeah.
Because again, they're trying to be a top 6 team on a top 10 budget, aren't they? Well, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously they got the ground now and everything, but at the minute that's not doing anything for them because no one can turn up, you know. So, but anyway, I think we fixed maybe 6 of the 7 teams there. I'm still a bit down on Tottenham, but
they just need 2 great centre backs. And Mourinho can set them up to not concede.
And you've been looking for at least one for 10 years, so you know.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to find one, let alone 2.
I know.
Same with Arsenal. How long have they been looking for centre halves? Jesus.
Don't disrespect Captain Slabhead. I love him.
He's all right. He's not in my. He's not in the top bracket, is he? If you stick Sergio Ramos alongside him, that'd be fun. I'd love to see that.
Him next to Van Dijk, people would say it's the best centre back piled in the world.
Oh, what? Sorry, you mean Van Dijk and Ramos?
No, Van Dijk and Maguire.
Oh, really? You're saying Van Dijk and Maguire? Okay, all right. I might have to leave it there on that one, Tom, for another day.
All right.
Lovely. Thanks for your picks.
Good show. Yeah.
Yeah, for the 2.5-3 hours that we've been discussing it. Lovely. Right, we'll come back with something a little bit different again. Cheers for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice one. Cheers, Tom. Cheers, Will.
Goodbye.